Perfect.
Salute, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back over here to the Black Ocean. You're now swimming deep in with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. Salute to everybody that will be joining us over here tonight. And I'd like to direct your attention to the screen. What you see is a worshiping coon. Oh, yes, because I have to show you what's going to be very angry at us in this evening's broadcast, because all the coons that are worshiping the Rotten Pearl, a.k.a. Miss Ann, or as I like to call her, Lice Spice, they're going to be highly upset at this broadcast this evening over here, ladies and gentlemen. I wasn't going to touch back on this, but something came to my attention, and I said, you know what? I have to talk about this. I have to show it to my audience to prove once and for all that when the brothers and sisters over here in New Black Media warn you about someone that's a white supremacist, we're not just saying that just to be saying it, okay? We're going to break some things down over here tonight that some of you may or may not have seen. Oh, yeah, we're going to get straight to brass tacks with a lot. And by the time that this is over, we're going to put this to bed once and for all. Oh, yes, we are. We're going to put this to bed once for all. And I'm going to show you something, family. Because, see, we have to remind you who some of the biggest buck dancing traitors are. I got to show you something. Remember this? And shout out to Brother Jason Black for catching this screenshot. That's the first person I see that I saw that had it over there on the business. The lead attorney, this buck dancing sample right here, it's exaggerated like slavery, 400 degrees. Shout out to just Pearly. And he's LOL about the Holocaust of our people, okay? I want you to remember his face. Because, see, by the time this broadcast is over, and what I got to show you here tonight, oh, yeah. Yeah, y'all I got a couple of things over here. Some of y'all probably have never seen before, but definitely by the time we finish breaking this down tonight, they're going to look extra double dip stupid if they keep on trying to defend this woman, because it's really already said and done. But, see, we need to show you that when they triple down on these types of things, and then we go back and show you where they previously stood, we see where the lines are drawn at now. Everybody's going to have to make their choice about this. And again, for everybody that thinks it's not a big deal, I'm going to say it once again. It is bigger than just her. This is how people amongst us look at white supremacy, whether it's anybody that's practicing it. Okay? You either see it and call it for what it is, and you do what you can to fight it, or you either see it and ignore it and then try to gaslight it as if there's no problem. So that's what we're going to be dealing with here tonight. And like I said, take a good look at the coon on the screen, because after this one is over, oh, they're going to be pissed. I'm finna tell you right now, I'm finna hurt all their feelings. I'm finna go ahead and put Lice Spice on the chopping block yet again over here. It's only I can do. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. But before we do so, as usual, let me go ahead and greet the chat room over here that I see coming in, join us. Let me make sure I pull that up quickly. I can see who we have in here. All right. I see. Hold up. Make sure I pull that back up. I see my brother Dunamis in here. I see Kid Gravity Beyond. I see B1 Queensland. Patricia Slade. What's going on? Okay. I see Amir L in here. Vincent Williams Sr. What's going on? Modab 3000. What's happening? Keela Shea. I see you. Raheem Jackson. What's going on? Brother Nightfall Drop. I see young brother Josh Norris. Welcome in the building. Salute to you all and everyone that will be joining us over here tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to go ahead and get started. We're going to be cooking with hot fish grease over here because, see, like I said, the reason that I'm coming back to this, everything on my channel, whether it's about history or present day, it is geared to be a classroom and a teaching tool set so that Black people with common sense can have the knowledge they need to make informed and accurate decisions. I don't worry about the people that's going to double down on stupidity. They already done. They was finished before they started, okay? Those people that practice cognitive dissonance, ain't nothing you can do for them. But for those of you that say, you know what, if I had different information, I would make different decisions. That's what this channel and this broadcast is for tonight. So with that said, hold on to your hats because I'm about to go ahead and kick this thing off and show you some things that none of y'all probably ever seen before. Let's get started.
The Manosphere in recent 1 or 2 years has been invaded by women. It's been invaded. It's been invaded by red pill hoes as it's collided with mainstream. I think because these red pill hoes see all these betas who are very beta, naive, gullible. They want to be pandered to in a way like a politician would pander to a voting demographic. So these red pill hoes like Real Femme Skankian, Horsha, these are names I make up for them. Just Pearly Things though is a real name for that chick. She has 1 million subs now. These women are just predators who are just feeding you what you want to hear. And it's pathetic and it's sick and it needs to stop. But anyway, it's kind of a tangent I wanted to throw in there.
Well, yeah, I mean.
And just in case those of you who are new to these spaces, you don't know much about the white manosphere or the black manosphere, let me go ahead and point out who you're looking at on the screen here. The guy on the right in the red hat, okay, make men great again, make men alpha again hat. His name is Anthony Dream Johnson. He's one of the big wigs over there in the white manosphere. He holds a convention called the 21 Convention, okay, usually annually. And, you know, he's at odds with certain guys like Rollo Tomasi and Tom Likens and the rest of their manosphere guys over there. But I'm playing this so that you can see how the white men view just Pearly Things, okay? So that all these goofy book dancing sambos is putting the cape on for you. You know they're looking extra stupid when the white men don't even accept that. But see, when a black person tells some of these flunkies something, they don't listen a lot of times. So, you know, what we like to do over here in New Black Media Spaces, I know I'm not the only one that does it. We let the white people tell you. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, hey, the white man's ice is colder. So, hey, I'm going to let them educate us on that. Before we get back to it, I have some cash outs I have to acknowledge already. Salute to the sister Candace DeLeo. Thank you very much, my sister. Esoteric, thank you for the cash out. And Robert Harris, thank you very much for that, brother. But we're going to get back to it over here. So I just want to make sure that you all knew who you were looking at on the screen, because I know a lot of you, ladies and gentlemen, don't keep up with these things. But I'm going to tell you why it's important. White manosphere, and I'm not going to mince words, white supremacists are over there, okay? The reason there's a black manosphere is because they really didn't accept the black guys. They were like, listen, all this other men camaraderie bullshit is certain issues that just for white men only. So they broke off and started their own thing, okay? There's plenty of evidence on that. I could do a whole broadcast on that in itself. But we're going to get back to this. I want y'all to listen to how these white men feel about Lice Spice, a.k.a. Pearl, okay? Because, see, Anthony Dream Johnson ain't the only one that I'm going to let talk to you about this tonight. Let's get back to it.
I'll say two things to that. I mean, on one hand, 100%, it's a money grab on the part of a lot of these women. And I mean, look, you can see this just in the general manosphere and Twitter. When I first came on Twitter in 2015, there was almost like no women at all. It was like if you saw a random girl who was around there, she was like, you know, she was like weird. Didn't mean that like she was a bad person or anything, you know, maybe you're mutuals, but she was like weird. It was like a weird place for her to be. And then you kind of got to 2018, you know, and there were a scattered number of girls there, but they were really low profile, mostly lurkers. 2019, certainly 2020. I mean, there were so many women who started coming into the space.
Yep.
And, you know, I'll be blunt about it. A lot of them would say the exact same thing, regurgitate exactly what a man would say, but they're going to get 3 to 5 times the engagement.
Yes.
Because
it's sick.
Yeah, it is sick.
So I'm gonna interject right here, and I'm gonna break something down and see. Oh, trust me, I'm finna make the buck dance, the Sambos and the coons and coonets very angry, especially the coonets. Let me tell you something. The statement I'm about to put you up on game about them women that's over there faking the funk with all of this in both spaces, they're gonna be pissed at me for what I'm about to say. But you know me, I don't give 2 shits about that. I tell the truth over here and let the chips fall where they may. Family, you heard what he just said, right? He said that he noticed an influx of those women coming into their spaces around 2019, 2020 or so, okay? Now, let me tell you something. White guys, them guys over there in those spaces, and you got a handful of black guys that caught on to it in the black manosphere spaces. But these white guys, they saw what it was early on, okay? Because in their mind, they were looking at these women like, okay, we've been saying the same stuff for years now. If you really backing our play, what the hell were you during those years? It should have been we should have seen a couple of y'all around back then. They didn't. Let me tell you what the con game is. Keep in mind the time period, 2019, 2020. I'm going to test the intelligence of my brilliant chat room. And before I tell you, I'm going to see if anybody understands what was a major event that happened from 2019 to 2020. Okay. And we're just now starting to see the wind down. What happened, ladies and gentlemen? Because see, if y'all can't get it, wow, already. Okay, I just glanced over here. I already see, see, I told you I have a brilliant crowd over here. Pandemic pimping. You damn right, Rakeem Jackson, Jackson, you got it right. See, let me tell y'all something, man. We finna go ahead and expose this hustle right now. And again, I'm not gonna say all of them, but a greater majority of them, the white ones and the black ones, with the exception of very few. What they started doing, they were like, hey, oh shit, this pandemic, economic trouble, hardship, need some new ways to make some money, I lost my job. What can I do online? So you had some on, they were like, okay, I really don't want to get on OnlyFans. I don't have the body for it. I don't have the courage to do that because I know the repercussions. What's another quick way I can make some money online? Oh, there's this red pill community over here, the Manosphere. Oh, let me look at this. Oh, shit. Let me tell these men what they want to hear. I can do what Kendra G does. Hell, she did the same thing. Where you think Pearly came from? See, let me tell you something. I respect that. Those white guys are not stupid. They were like, oh, hell no, bitch. We see this as just a money grab. You get up here, you got your low cleavage on, you talk using our talking points, but you don't mean none of this shit. Because, see, they know that, okay, see, we're going to break it down. I told you, they're finna hate this. What it is, they looked at it and they said, okay, the simps that's on OnlyFans, hell, they'll give me the same amount of money if I stroke their ego and put this little low cleavage shirt on and use a little sexy voice here or there. Yeah, come on over here and let me get some of that bread. Let me tell you something. Look, Sambos and Sambets over there, I ain't knocking your hustle. I respect it. Hey, look, this is how I feel about a simp that's willing to part with his money. You supposed to get that motherfucker. I respect the game. I do. I get it. But we're going to call it for what it is over here tonight. So I just wanted to break that part down. And like I said, a couple of guys in the audience already knew. A couple of you sisters probably like, hey, yeah, but see, it is what it is. And y'all smart enough to know that, sisters. I mean, when y'all women, one thing about the women over here, y'all recognize when other women are running game. So I just wanted to put that into context. And see, I want you to look at their faces while they're describing their disgust about that, okay? Because see, one thing about them guys over there, the purpose of the white manosphere was for white men's issues, not white women, not black men, not nobody else, but white men. You better look at how they've tried to run. They've run this country for the last 100+ years and how they do things globally. They don't include the women in shit. So you got guys like Anthony Dream Johnson. They're like, oh my, look at the look on his face. Do he look like he happy about that? But see, you know what? Like I said, I'm just a black man. My words don't really mean nothing. Let me let the white man get back to talking.
And I think, this is a black pill statement about men and where men are right now, because even men in the manosphere who are trying, who are really I think a lot of them truly trying to become more masculine, to get out of the longhouse, you know, to stop being a bitch. Hot girl says something, and you know, sometimes like not even like super hot, you know, just like cute girl something, and
Not even
it's
that
like
sometimes, man.
smash that like button, you know. It's like, and I don't want to be petty about it, but can you imagine, like, can you imagine our grandfathers in this situation? I mean, it really does. And I think in certain cases it gets very annoying to me, because you can tell that the women who are putting this stuff out there, it's not even like they necessarily know what they're talking about. They just are saying stuff that's maybe gonna get attention, and you know, this guy needs to be a super alpha. Men aren't, you know, like, just
Allow me to.
Let me go ahead and acknowledge the brother that just said the cash app here, Jermaine Glanton. Thank you very much for that, my brother. I appreciate you. But I want to give some context to what they're saying here, right? Because see, notice that Pat Stedman, the guy on the left, he said, just think about what our grandfathers would have thought of this. See, they're looking at things from the context of the legacy of white men as far as being compromised in their principles, as far as allowing women into certain things they ain't got no business. That's the context they're looking at it in, okay? And to answer my brother Rakeem Jackson's question, he said, explain black pill. Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. You know what? I do need to do a broadcast breaking that down, because, see, a lot of women don't really understand them different pills. I know we got drugs all over cyberspace. But that one in particular, let me go ahead and break that down. Let me tell you something. And I want the women to pay attention. And I'm glad you asked it, even though it's not. It's important, even though it's not fitting in what we're talking about. So don't feel bad for asking that question. Listen up. That black pill ideology, that shit is dangerous. Let me tell you something. Basically what that is, the men and the white men and white and black men that believe in that shit, those are basically would be like, think Elliot Rodger. Okay, I just can't get no women. I give up on life. There's no use in trying. This guy's always going to beat me out for this or that. In other words, they're nihilistic. They don't have any hope for anything. They have basically like, there's no use in trying to improve myself or anything. So they have a hatred, an extreme hatred for all women. Let me tell you something. That philosophy right there, you can see it in a lot of spaces, and you probably didn't know what the fuck it was. And see, I really do need to do a further broadcast to break that down, because, see, some of these women, and I ain't going to call no names, but some of these women that think they're supporting certain guys over there in these different manosphere spaces, they don't even understand the spaces they're in. They just basically, like these guys are saying, repeating stuff they don't really understand. Let me tell you women something, that's dangerous. You don't fall in line with a damn thing that you don't have a thorough understanding of. But that black pill shit, those are the ones that are more likely to kill women and shit, okay? I'm just going to put it plain. Look, there's some of these guys that are content creators, they've had some of their followers do some goofy shit offline. And then they start backing away from the shit. I didn't tell them to do that. Yeah, but you influenced them. See, let's further explain this with a responsible manner over here before we get back to that. If I do a broadcast, okay, and I criticize men or women, I do it in a responsible way. You don't speak in absolutes and have people influence, think, oh man, see these black bitches or these dirty niggas, this, that, the third. When you start speaking in absolutes, that's really not reality, because there's nothing absolute when it comes to social behavior between people, okay? Everybody doesn't act the same, okay? You've got good people, you got bad people. But see, these irresponsible motherfuckers, the content creators, especially in those black pill spaces, they know it's profitable because, hey, some of these incels and simps, they do have some jobs and they will throw money at them, okay? That's the inverse of what the women do as far as pandering to the men. Like I said, that's a whole nother broadcast, but thank you, Rakeem Jackson, for asking that question, because that right there, let me tell you something. It's different from red pill rage. Red pill rage is basically like a guy finds out that most of the stuff he was taught about women, okay, damn, I didn't know that this wasn't true. You know, sugar and spice, everything nice, all that kind of stuff like that. You start to find out, okay, yeah, women didn't do grimy shit just like men. They go through that little red pill rage phase, and then they finally get over and just level on out. That black pill, that's something else. It ain't no. Basically, let me make it simple before we get back into it. Black pill would basically be somebody that's stuck in red pill rage and it's not coming out. That shit is dangerous. But we gonna. I'm glad you brought it up. I'll break that down in future broadcasts. But we gonna let these jokers get back to it because, like I said, they finna really expose some stuff about how they feel about Lice Spice, aka Pearl.
Allow me to double down.
Talk to women.
They not only don't know what they're talking about, they don't even care.
Yeah.
They're just saying what they're pushing, whatever pain buttons or whatever emotional buttons in these guys or whatever even ideological buttons they want to hear. You know, these hoes ain't loyal. She's not yours. It's just your turn. $5 super chat, right?
Yeah.
They're just pushing buttons to make money. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
These women, they're predators, and they're not like sociopaths in some clinical sense, but they're sociopathic in that they really don't give a fuck. It doesn't matter to them. They're like, look at all these fucking simps. This girl, dude, just Pearly Things is a 5. She's a friendly 5 on a good day. I mean, just gross, right? She looks like Shrek's ex-wife, I call her. She's a gross woman. But these dudes simp for her to an astounding degree, and it's like, this is gross. And she doesn't care. She doesn't know anything. She's some 25-year-old bimbo, a friendly 5 bimbo. I mean, it's just like just completely average and mediocre as you could possibly get. And yet she tells these guys what they want to hear, and they fucking eat it up. And then they stay, let me put this too, they stay stuck like a hamster or like a slave in this like pen. One thing that amazes me, I think.
TLA.
All right, so now you heard Anthony Dream Johnson let you know exactly how he felt about Pearl. And see, one of the reasons I wanted to bring that to you is I monitor all this shit, okay? Been monitoring it for years. And the only reason I keep up with it is when anything that affects black people, I make sure that my people in my audience understands it, okay? Especially the sisters, because I'm not trying to punch down at sisters, but a lot of times y'all will glance over stuff and you don't really understand certain things, and some of the shit could be dangerous, okay? So now that I let them talk, because that was 2 white men amongst themselves comfortable talking, that's when you're going to get the truth, okay? Now, I want y'all to pay attention to what you're about to see next right here. Because, see, if you wondered why, and I'm going to name names on this, the lead attorney, I'm talking to you, you little bullet head son of a bitch. I have no respect for you at all when you mock the Holocaust of our people. This right here, what I'm about to show you, it's going to make a lot of sense why the lead attorney is caping so hard for a little old Lice Spice, a.k.a. Pearl. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but chances are you hadn't. Want y'all to listen to this, and I'm not going to even give no commentary during this. I'm going to let this play in its entirety before I make any statements.
The lead attorney. You know, we got to have diversity. I'm trying to think of a white one. It's not coming to my mind. I'm kidding. If it's Manosphere, it's okay. Ooh, Anthony Dream Johnson.
Who's that? Anthony.
I'm the president of the Manosphere.
Anthony, let me
21 Studios.
Let me look. Hold on. 21 Studios. I don't know if I know. I might sometimes I know people's faces.
I know, I feel you.
This guy?
No, who's that?
Okay.
He looks like a woke boy. 21 Studios, Anthony. Is his middle? This is not going to age well. It's okay. Anthony Dream. That's him. You know him. Come on.
Not really.
Yeah, you do.
I don't think I've ever seen a video.
He's doxed everybody in the sphere.
Okay, yeah, I don't know who that is, but I'll do it. Like I'll put him in the 3. You know.
Yeah. Okay. So who else did I say? TLA.
Okay.
Him or Jack Murphy.
Jack Murphy.
He was just on You Are Here.
Jack Murphy. This guy.
Yeah.
Okay, that's. Oh, this
looks like my ex.
This one's easy.
If you knew the backstory on ADJ, I think you would think otherwise.
Is
I don't know. Pick it. It's here.
No. Oh my gosh. No, the lead attorney I would marry.
Okay.
He's so cute actually.
Yeah.
And then this guy I would probably F, and then this guy I would kill because
okay, you gotta be specific. Anthony Dream Johnson.
Oh, sorry, Anthony Dream Johnson. I'd F.
What would?
And Jack Murphy.
No, you flipped it. You wanted to kill him.
No, I wanted to kill this guy.
No,
but I don't know though.
Oh God!
The other guy was younger. Like he's better looking.
Okay, but Pearl's an.
Yeah, you heard that, right? I wanted to let y'all hear that without any commentary so that it would make sense why this bullet head son of a bitch right here would say what he just said on this screen. Now you see. See, let me explain something to y'all, right? And I want black men, especially young black men and black women, to pay attention to what I'm about to tell you. The most dangerous coon is the one that gets complimented by a white person, a white supremacist, and then they take that to heart. Let me tell you something. That right there is the actual equivalent of a butter biscuit on a plantation. You know what? In case of y'all, let me explain that for those of you that might be new here that don't understand the historical context of what a butter biscuit is. That is a actual biscuit with butter on it, as it said. It would be given to a slave on a plantation if they did something like tell on some slaves trying to escape. Basically, it was a reward for meritorious manumission. So basically, what the slave that was rewarded the butter biscuit by the plantation master would do, the slave wouldn't eat the butter biscuit right then. It would take that biscuit and run down there to the field and show everybody else. So, yeah, he was like, yeah, see, look what master gave me. But however, those slaves that did that, they marked themselves as permanent traitors. There's a whole history behind like what was done to some of the traders on the plantation. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Some of our ancestors took their ass out before slavery was over. That's a whole nother broadcast for another day. But I want you to understand now why his ass put the cape on so hard for her. See, this lets you know that their relationship that they have, who knows what was said between them on phone calls. It don't even take much. She ain't got to be sexually active with him. All she got to do is just acknowledge that he's cute. These niggas will slit our throat just for a compliment from a white person like that. So I wanted to show you that so that it would make sense. Okay? I don't know if you've seen that before, but when I show you something, I try to make sure that I'm thorough with what I do over here. So the next piece that I'm going to play for you is Rollo Tomasi, okay? He's one of the thought leaders in the white manosphere, okay? He would be considered one of their OGs, so to speak. Before we play that, though, I want to make sure you also understand what you saw in that last clip there. See, Lice Spice, we already know what her get down is, but that heifer that was sitting there talking to her, let me tell you something. Those heifers are dangerous. Those white men know that. See, if I did, let me go here with it so that you understand where I'm coming from and where I hope you will have an understanding of where you should be thinking. Even if you were to discount the history of Emmett Till, George Stinney Jr., Black Wall Street, all of those things have in common, white women's lies and deception made those events occur in our history. Even if you were to discount all of that, you better look at if white men don't really trust their own women like that, what the fuck do I look like trusting one of their asses? Oh yeah, you see what I'm saying? See, now a lot of the bucks are better stand, they're gonna be pissed. Let me tell you, this the broadcast right here. If they subscribe to me, they're gonna unsubscribe, never come back, they're gonna hate my ass. Cause see, we just getting started tonight. If you think you mad now, you ain't seen shit yet. I got this broadcast loaded over here tonight. So I just wanted to make sure that you understand that. You look at how that woman was speaking, her demeanor and everything. Them women are not accepted by the white manosphere. You go over there and look at their content, you don't see no white women sitting up there right beside them using their talking points. They don't play that shit, okay? But see these dumbass Sambos over here, all they get needs a little compliment. You know what I'm saying? Not even no money. You can't, I mean, damn, if you were getting some money out of the deal, I could understand it. They throw you a compliment. And see the reason why that's so important, family? You saw the last broadcast I just did. Them two double jokes, Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, they're the same. All they need is compliments from white people. They'll slit our people's throats. I want y'all to get ready to listen to what Rollo Tomasi has to say about Lice Spice, though. And then a lot more is going to come together. Let's let him play.
Idiot who can get Andrew Tate on her show. And Pearl's an idiot who will take, Brittany Renner seriously. And I'm going to, before I even get into the, I'm not even going to get into her video with Brittany Renner. I could probably spend all day on that one. But Brittany Renner is clinically bipolar. Provably clinically bipolar. You take her videos and that are still part of her Instagram, proudly part of her Instagram. Take those videos where she's talking about it was this. Hey y'all. That's where that video that I stole that sound drop from. That video is still up on her Instagram. Go look at Stepdaddy season. Go look at the videos where she's like sucking down Chardonnay and yelling at her camera like incoherent. She becomes whoever you expect her to be on whatever show she happens to be on. And now that she's 20, she's looking for sympathy right now. She's in the epiphany phase, really. But she is, I mean, she's criminally insane. Seriously. If you would take those, if you would have like a clinical psychologist go and analyze her, you're like, yeah, she's crazy as fuck.
Today is a fellow.
All right, so you heard the so-called godfather of the white manosphere, Rollo Tomasi, let you know that he thinks she's a blithering idiot. See, white men over there, when them women try to come over there, hey guys, I support you. I usually talk about it. First thing they do, they say, okay, bitch, where were you years ago? Okay, you wasn't even in the chat room. And then now that you come over here, we know you don't believe none of that shit that you're talking about. See, I'm finna show you something else. I'm finna make some of them female bimbos that are content creators in both spaces mad. I'm gonna put something out here and see the simp's gonna be highly offended. I don't care. I really don't care if you're offended. That doesn't bother me one way or another. But let me explain something. This is how they could test those women to see if they're really loyal. Let them come over there with their little low-cut cleavage and spouting all the shit they repeating. Most of it comes from Kevin Samuels. They copying him. Okay, let's just keep it a buck. And we know all know who he copied. No need to go there. Here's how you could test if they're serious or not. You see, a person that really believes in something, has conviction in it, it's their calling, their mission. They feel like they want to make a difference in what they're doing. Of course, everybody likes to be compensated for what they do. But whether you compensate it or not, if it's your calling, you're going to do it no matter what. You're going to keep going, okay? If they stop donating to them women for a good 2 months straight, I'm talking about just because we know this is not going to happen, but I'm just making a point. If they stop donating to them for about 2 months straight, they get up there with their little routine, man, do you know how that will fuck with them? Be like, what the hell is going on? No super chats, no Cash App, no PayPal. A lot of them will be like, you know what? Fuck it. They caught on to my hustle. That's where you would see, but see, they too stupid to realize that. Hey, look, like I said, I'm not hating. I'm just throwing a suggestion out there. They can take it or leave it. Salute to the brother Jubel England for the Cash App and my good brother Black Voltron Reloaded. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, we're going to be cooking with fish grease over here tonight. We're not done by sight. So now that I set the table for you, so you see what the white men and the white manosphere thought about just Pearly, and now you got the reason why the lead attorney with his little shaved testicle head looking treasonous bastard ass. Now you see why he came for us so hard. This is an interview that I came across by these white guys, and they have a podcast called Trigonometry. Trigger, yes, like pull the trigger, trigonometry, a play on words for being triggered. If y'all thought that this motherfucker really wasn't no white supremacists or people was on the fence, you're not going to be on the fence no more by the time we finish analyzing this here today. And if you think that these are the good guys in this, just wait. I want y'all to take a listen to this, and we'll be stopping it to break things down as need be.
YouTuber who started her show a year ago and is now on over 1 million subscribers, Pearl Davis, a.k.a. Just Pearly Things. Welcome to Trigonometry.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's awesome. Thanks so much for coming. It's great to have you on. As I just bigged you up, you've absolutely smashed it. Before we get into all of that, tell everybody, who are you? How are you where you are? What's been the journey through life that leads you to be sitting here talking to us?
So my name's Pearl. I'm a YouTuber. I'm from Chicago. I live in London. I do a YouTube show here.
That was quick.
Yeah.
How did you decide to start it? How did you have the idea? You could tell everybody what the show is, because a lot of people wouldn't have seen it.
Oh, okay.
That stuff.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
So we talk about a lot of men's issues. So I feel like most media today is catered towards women, pandering towards women. We don't do that on my channel.
You don't pander to women.
No, we're not about that. And
you pander to men.
Not pander. Look, I say things that are true.
Okay.
I say things that are like basic to me, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But
like what?
You shouldn't get super fat after you get married just because you got a ring. I mean, I feel like that's basic. Women in the 1950s knew that. But today, I'm a bully. I'm the meanest person ever. Blah blah. So yeah, that's what I do.
Salute to my brother Project Leroy for the Cash App. Thank you very much, my brother. But see, family, the way we're gonna analyze this, what I'm gonna show you right here, let me tell you something, right? If you really want to know why the white men are so vehement about them women coming over there, Let me tell you what they're looking at it like. And I agree with them on this because it does make sense. You heard what she just said, right? The white guys don't need her parroting the talking points that they've already been using. That's useless. You're not really helping nobody by doing that. You know what the white men are saying? See, they look at power completely different than black people do. Okay? I'm going to explain what I mean by that. The white men are saying, okay, white bitch, okay, you say you want to help. I don't need you doing what I'm doing. I understand what the men are going through. I can talk to the men. This is what the white men are saying to them, all of them, not just Pearl. What the white men want their asses to do, say, okay, I don't need you talking like this online. I need you to get off your ass, go get in these courtrooms, go get on city council meeting. I need you going around for politics to push my message. See, the white men understand the power that their women have. That's why they know they're full of shit. Do you understand free white and 21 like we keep saying? These women, especially the young ones, what the white manosphere would rather have them doing is say, okay, get up here in this family court system and change some of these child support laws. We need you lobbying for that if you really want to help us. We don't need you right up here under us on our channel. We got this part as far as the megaphone. We need you over here where you can go and get into these places where a lot of us can't, so you can start to change things. Because, see, the problem with the family court system, the marriage laws and all of that, we're going to lay the blame where it is on that. It's these white simps that are politicians on both political parties that have fucked this shit up. And the white men know that. So the white men that want to change shit like that, they know they're not going to really be able to get in there, but their women can. So if Pearl was really serious about helping men and all of that, her ass would be doing exactly what I just stated. That's why they're pissed off. Let's let it continue.
As we talk about relationships on my show, and so we bring in men and women to talk about different relationship topics, and then we go back and forth.
Yeah.
And then I also work a lot with the court system here. I'm doing a documentary on men getting custody of their kids. So.
Interesting.
Yeah. But one of the things you did with your show, and I don't know if you were one of the first ones, but it's definitely a format that's really skyrocketed. I can't open my Twitter now without, 8 people sitting around the table having some discussion. Often they don't know what they're talking about. But it's a format of bringing kind of random people together, partly random.
Very random.
Very random.
Very random, yeah.
And you also have famous people, and we'll talk about that as well. But did you come up with that? Was that something that you saw other people doing?
No, I would say Fresh and Fit in Miami were probably the first ones to do that. So I went on their show. And what I liked about London is it was one of the most diverse.
Notice she dropped Fluke and Fraud, aka Fresh and Fit's name, because see, let me tell you something about heifers like this. I understand them better than they understand themselves because I grew up in the South. You can't help but have an understanding of them down here. She dropped that name for a reason because just like white people dog whistle to other white people dog whistle to their flunkies and sambos like Fresh and Fit, Fluke and Fraud, as I like to call them. 2 tethers, okay? And don't think for 1 second that white people like Pearl, white supremacists like Pearl, let's go ahead and label Lice Spice accordingly. Don't think that they're not aware of that tether class over here that panders to them and will slit other black people's throat for light next to nothing. So she's shouting them out to say, see, you white men in the Manosphere wouldn't let me in. I'll go over here to these Negro flunkies. They'll swing the doors wide open. All I have to do is just smile and pretend like I'm stupid and throw a couple of compliments and they'll let me right on in. And look what just happened. Like I said, if you go down and look at the broadcast, it's not just me saying it. They got mad at the brother Dennis Sperling and kicked him out the Manosphere. You saw he read their ass pillar to post for that. Look, whether you like him or not, I don't always agree with him, but I respect that brother for telling their ass the truth. Because everything he said was going to happen, it happened. Everything Jason Black told them was going to happen, it happened. And they're not done yet because, see, Pearl is just the beginning. Mark our words. A lot of us keep saying this. She's going to bring in others. And the next thing you know, that title Black Manosphere, if they don't make some changes and say, whoa, we need to completely overhaul this shit with new rules, it's over with. They may well just say Manosphere because it's going to be the white Manosphere. You mark my words. Let's let it continue.
Places I've ever lived.
Yeah.
So I just thought it'd be cool to bring everyone in a room and talk about something that we all have in common, which is relationships.
That's very interesting. And so, but why do you pick the subjects that you do? Why are you drawn to the subjects that you discuss? Because they are controversial, they can get you into hot water, etc.
I follow what interests me, and I just thought those subjects were interesting. It wasn't. A lot of people think it's like a lot more drawn out. Every week, I'm just like, oh, that's an interesting topic, and we go for it. I would say it's a mix of relationships. Sometimes we add in some conservative stuff, but it's like mostly about relationships.
And why does that interest you, Paul? In particular, do you feel that relationships are in crisis now, or we don't value relationships, or we look at relationships in the wrong way?
I just think men aren't allowed to have standards in society, and that's just like the one thing I noticed. Like whenever men say that they want something in a relationship, like women always shame them for it. And I just thought it was so interesting how we never like talk about the men's point of view. So when I first started, I started like introducing my friends to like certain types of content. So I would be like, well, have you ever thought about this way? Or have you ever thought about that way? And I don't know, that's kind of how it started.
Right, so men are shamed for having standards. What do you mean by that? Let's just unpick that a little bit.
Okay, so what do we have? We have fat shaming. If a guy says, I want a girl in shape, oh, he's fat shaming. Oh, if a guy says, I don't want the town whore, then he's slut shaming. If he says, I don't want to, like, it's like anytime a guy demands something out of a relationship or he's labeled as controlling. And I just got, oh my gosh, I got so tired in the past year. I got so tired because I just feel like we would talk about like basic things and the men would say basic things that they wanted and like they would just continue to be shamed for it. And it's just like one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it.
So what?
So I want to point out something to you here also, family, about these two geeks right here, because I'm going to call these little dorks what they are. White men despise these bastards. They look at them as beta male simps, because that's exactly what they are, okay? Because they wouldn't even want her to have a platform to sit up here and spew this fake nonsense. See, let me tell you the other reason why white men don't want Pearl in there and they don't trust her. Like I said, she would be better served trying to get out here and lobby politically to get the laws changed so things could be better for them in general, as far as men. They really don't respect her, though, because they know she comes from a wealthy background. And see, wealth with white society is different with wealth in black society, what little we have. With wealth in white society comes connections. They know that she's connected to politicians through her father and other people that can move some needles. So they're like, bitch, you really think we don't see this shit? If you don't get your little hard to look at ass the fuck out from over here, that's how white men look at that, okay? I'm telling you now. You heard what they said in the beginning of the broadcast? So I just want you to know that they despise these two little old weasels sitting up here listening to her. Because you can listen to them talk. They some book-ass selves, man. I mean, it's disgusting. It disgusts me, okay? Because, see, they're sitting up, well, you'll see as the interview goes on. Let's let them get back to it.
What are the basic things? And look, a lot of people have said you use, let's put it, fruity language, as they would say in the 1950s in England, like the town whore.
Oh yeah,
you
should have said.
Town
You should have
bicycle.
said the city whore.
The city whore. But,
Yeah.
But so, what do you mean by that?
I think we know what you mean by that.
No,
don't we?
Whore?
Yeah. No. But let's talk. What does that mean? Because
Sleeping. Okay, I met one girl. She told me this was off camera. She didn't tell me this on camera. Girl, because we had a pro-life show. Girls had 7 abortions.
Wow.
7. She's like 28. It's like madness. Like you can't tell me that's not madness.
Right.
And so we're just in this world where it's like girls are doing this crazy stuff. And if anyone has anything to say about it, we're the bad guys. It's just like, don't put me in that group. Like,
Well, that makes a lot of sense because I think a lot of people, including a lot of women, would be like, you've had 7 abortions. I mean, even if you're pro-choice, you'd sort of not be on board with that, most people.
you would be surprised.
Well, you think a lot of people are on board with that?
Maybe not on board, but like legally.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So here it's free.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And do you think that these particular women don't take responsibility for their actions? Do you think it's society?
Why would, it's like we live in a world where women are bailed out of every single bad decision we make. If we want to sleep around, there's birth control. If birth control doesn't work, there's abortion. If if the girl does get pregnant and wants to keep it, she can put the dude on child support and not let him see the kids. Like a guy gets 6 days a month, maybe if he's lucky. On top of that, if that doesn't go well, they can give it up for adoption. It's like women are always bailed out of every bad decision we make. I heard here they gave you free housing if you're a single mother. What incentive do we have to make good decisions if we get free shit from the government for making bad decisions?
It's a good point, but then surely isn't the system at fault rather than the individual, Pearl?
Why?
Both. I mean, I think the system's at fault for like allowing them to do that, but I mean, I think your life is your own fault.
Yeah.
So if you can't tell me a girl had 7 abortions, that's not her fault.
No.
Like, come on.
I agree. That's why I was surprised.
Yeah.
Francis always likes to blame the system because he's an old school lefty.
Yeah.
Everything's about the system.
No.
So now listen to what you're hearing right here, right? Okay, so now the average person that doesn't see what her game is, her con game or grift. Now this would be a grift right here. People keep talking about grift. This is a grift, what you're looking at. The average person would say, yeah, that makes sense. She's right. Yeah, on his face. Yeah, she's right on his face. But see, let's look at something. Do you really think this woman believes what she's saying? Let me explain something to y'all about Pearl, because see, I'm going to show you the comparison in Black society. How many of you in here are familiar with that heifer, Brittany Cooper, aka Professor Crunk, or as I call her, Professor Chunk? How many of you are familiar with Tarana Burke? Okay, I'm going somewhere with this. I'm gonna show y'all something. A light bulb is about to come on when I break this down. I'm pretty sure my chat room is familiar with them, right? Y'all familiar with them? Okay. Professor Crunk, aka Brittany Cooper, and Tyrannosaurus Burke, as I like to call her, okay? Pearl is a very unattractive woman. And ladies, bear with me. I got to make this point. It's gonna stick. Pearl is very unattractive, not just to me, but she's unattractive to white men. Hence why she's not married right now, okay? On top of that, she goes and dips over and gets her some soul pole every now and again, mostly from the tethers, okay? So when there's an unattractive woman like a Professor Crunk, okay, aka Brittany Cooper, or Tyrannosaurus Burke, they start turning on other women and just saying shit like that to agree with men that have anti-female talking points. Now, let's be clear. What she's saying makes sense. All of us with common sense, we get that part. The reasoning behind it is what's being questioned. And see, when unattractive women can't get attention from the men they want, they turn on other attractive women. They'll be like, okay, you bitches, you gonna get the men I want. They gonna pass me over. I got something for y'all. I'll go over here and join these men that can't stand y'all. Case in point, for our side of the fence, look at Jamel Hill. You see, now does it make sense? You see where I'm going with this? Yeah. Look, we got to tell the truth. Because see, I got to call it like it is, man. Most women that are attractive, they're not gonna say shit like this. They're not. And if they do, they're going to sauce you around it. The only the attractive ones that you see doing that, the only reason they're doing it is because money is in it. That's it. See, you got to understand something about how women in general think. I know it's a chauvinist statement, but we got to tell the truth. In general, for the ones that it applies to, when they see other women do something and it take off like a OnlyFans, they're like, hell, shit, she did it. I can do it too. That's how those that think like that, that's how they think. It is what it is. Okay? I just wanted to point that part out, but we're going to let them get back to it.
Oh, I mean, I would say it's, okay, there's good people and bad people. But if you have a system that allows bad people to get away with the bad things that they do, then of course, the system's at fault too. However, like your own life is your own fault. So I kind of see both sides when it comes to that.
Yeah. And are these your politics that inform your worldview? Do you have a political outlook on life?
I would say I'm like more conservative, but like, no, it's just what I see in front of me, like, to be honest.
You're not that's the sense I get from you. You're not ideological. You just go, that's stupid, that doesn't work, etc. Right? That's my take on it. That's my sense of you.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something else there. No. How have you found the experience of like just bringing in, because you just literally, do you just grab people off the street?
Oh, gosh. Oh, that's hell. Recruiting is hell. Yeah, basically a year ago, I started with like my teammates, but I dunked on them a little too hard. So they stopped coming on. Because this one girl was trying to say that a guy that likes younger women was a pedophile. And I was just like, now I wasn't talking about underage women, okay? I'd like to don't clip me, don't do that. And I was just like, no, like that's just natural. That's what men naturally want younger women. So yeah, then they stopped coming on, but no, we recruit through Instagram mostly. And
so you get a bunch of random people
Yes.
who want to come on the show
Yes.
to discuss these things.
Yes.
And you clearly, you know, as you said, you were dunking on your own teammates too hard, so they've left, right?
Some of them came back. They did come back.
They did come back. And how does that go? Because we do, I mean, certainly from our perspective, live in a society where, as you say, people are very uncomfortable with certain things that we all know are true being said out loud in the public eye. How does that go when you get a bunch of random people and you start dropping your truth bombs?
Sometimes well, sometimes not well. I've had a lot of girls come back and say they changed their opinions after coming on my show, actually, that they see the world in a completely different way. But I would say the majority hate me.
Yeah.
Not that come on the show, but like, I don't know.
But that's interesting. So you've had people who've changed their opinions. Can you give a couple of examples of that?
I had one friend that stopped being friends with me last year because I had a post about something that pissed her off. And she literally said she stopped being my friend, wouldn't talk to me, whatever. She came back 3 months later and said, you were right. And I was a crazy feminist. And I realized I was wrong.
And what was the post?
Modern women want to be victims.
Interesting. So let's explore that. Why do you think that, Pearl?
Because they play the victim in everything.
Okay. But let's give some examples. Like, what do you mean by that? Is it
it's like whenever, okay.
Keep in mind, this is the woman that admitted that she's a Karen, right? So she would know about playing the victim. And see, let's further flesh this out about why white men rejected her like that and they don't trust her. They know that she's sitting up here talking against what works in her nature in America. See, whether you want to admit it or not, due to the family court system, these marriage laws, it's set up in women's favor, okay? They know that it makes no sense for a woman to sit up here and go this hard in the paint against something that's set up in her favor. And so a lot of you say, well, GBS, well, maybe she's serious. Maybe she means it. No, I'm going to tell you why she doesn't mean it. Just because she's wealthy and can live off daddy's money, that's not the point. Every woman would like to have a man that's going to come in and say, hey, look, yeah, you already got your own stuff, but I'm willing to break bread and take care of you with my resources. She can't get that. Look at this woman. There is no man in his right frame of mind that's worth anything. Let's draw the line between that, because I don't care if you black, white, or in between. I'm going to say it again. There's no man that's worth a damn that's going to build ourselves up to get what we're trying to get. Okay, we got investments. We can buy what we want to buy, take care of a family. We're doing good. None of us are going to get to the top of the mountain and say, gee, you know what? Let me pick this ugly, strong-faced heifer right here. That's not going to happen. When we get our shit to that point, we trying to get the cream of the crop. It is what it is. I know a lot of people ain't going to like that, but I'm going to tell you the truth. So she can't get no white man to take her on like that. So what they do, see, it's very easy to understand just Pearly Things, a.k.a. Lice Spice. When they start rebelling against their parents when they're young and go and hop on some soul pole, you know what I'm saying, shall we say, to try to keep it edited. When they go and do that, they stay that way throughout their whole lives. They stay rebelling. When they don't get what they want, they show out. That's in their nature. Now, you can say that's all women in general to a certain extent, but we talking about this heifer right here tonight. So her showing out like, you won't accept me in the white manosphere, let me go over to the niggers. Oh, yeah? Okay, you white men are not going to marry me? Okay, well, hell, I'll just hop on this soul pull. I know you can't stand that. See, these white men understand their women. And like I said, if they don't trust their women, and along with the history that I have, that's the main reason I don't fuck with them. But if they don't trust their women, what I look like trusting them? Yeah, see, you can't get around that and use common sense. Now the Bucks of Benetton, hey, you know, y'all done for. I'm not even trying to save you. You going to take care of yourself. Or Becky going to take care of you. Like I said, you're going to be the next Christian Obumseli or worse. But like I said, it is what it is. The pawns always go first and let's let it continue.
Okay, so when I started doing the show, girls would come forward and they would say, like, I was abused, right?
Okay.
And my first response as like a person is I believe them, right? And I think, you have empathy, right? But then you find out that they didn't press any charges against the guy. So you're coming on a platform and you're saying I was afraid to press charges, but you're not afraid to talk on my show. And this has happened multiple times. So people know who her ex is that watch the show. So she's publicly defaming this man's character with no proof or evidence. And so I just think a lot of times like, or they wouldn't talk about how, I would ask the question, he hit you, okay, did you hit him first? And more often than not, they would hit first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they didn't talk about that. They would talk, so that's what I meant as I was talking about how like women will play the victims when they started it. Like you can't hit a guy and not expect to get hit back.
That's interesting. Why do you say that? Because, look, so from my own background, I was raised, whatever happens, whatever you do, you never lay hands on a woman. You just never do that. Whatever happens, you absolutely never do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think.
Let me take the time to go ahead and deal with this right now because actually this does correlate into what Brother Raheem Jackson asked earlier about the black pill. Let me go ahead and give you my stance on this when it comes to women ain't being struck because, see, we not only have to point out this white supremacy, oh, it's coming, trust me. They're going to get to the part in just a few minutes here where they're talking about black people. But as far as these statements that she's making, understand that a lot of people in the black pill community will gravitate to women like her that say that shit, which proves her ultimate contempt for women. Now, I agree. Everybody need to keep their hands to themselves unless you defending yourself in a situation where you don't have no choice. I'm going to say it again. Everybody, men and women, need to keep your hands to yourself as far as trying to strike somebody without just cause, okay? Now, where I stand with that, I usually look at women as non-combatants. I don't believe in hitting no women, with one exception, though. If she's armed, all bets are off. If you have a knife or some type of projectile weapon that can do me bodily harm and there's no safe egress route, all I see is a man. You put yourself in a man's position, I'm going to deal with you like a man. Now, outside of that, as far as just hauling off and socking a woman because she said something you didn't like, or if she tries to take a swing and it's just her bare hands, I'm in restraint mode then. That's how I do it because, see, look, I'm going to tell you something. Just speaking for me, there are grown men that are twice my size and appear to be stronger than me that can't do shit with me. I will beat their ass down into street pizza. So that way, I'm looking at it like this. If I know what I'm capable of doing to a man, I don't really see women like that. There ain't nothing she can say. If it get to that point where she about to piss me off like that, I'll just take my leave and say, oh, you know what? No, let me just leave her alone. And see, let's give responsible advice to the young black men. In case you thinking, oh man, you tripping. No, I'm gonna show you something. You know yourself better than anybody. The first time a woman go to buck up and bub and get in your face or try to hit you, leave her ass alone. That's my rule. Nope, I'm not gonna deal with you because you don't understand that you're a woman, and I'm not gonna be in no situation where I'm having no unnecessary domestic violence charges or nothing like that. So when women start that bullshit, that's your sign. It's a red flag. Leave the asses alone. But see, again, I got to make sure I point out that talking points like that, you better understand that this heifer knows she can't get the kind of men that she wants, especially in white society. So she goes, full nuclear. She flipped the table. Like, okay, fuck all you hoes. I ain't gonna sit here and watch you get the quality white men that I want. I'm gonna go aside with all these motherfuckers that hate your ass. See, mark my words, her next thing she's gonna do, she's gonna reach out to that black pill community. Watch what I tell you. Y'all think Nick Fuentes was she gonna stop? Oh, just wait. Mark my words, you be like, damn, GBS, you said that was gonna happen. I'm telling you, man, I can read this heifer like a book. Let's let her continue.
They tell men that because they cater to women. If you hit someone, expect to get hit back.
Well, hold on, mate.
Like, why is she exempt from any responsibility? Like, okay, if you go up to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and you punch him in the face, is anyone gonna feel bad when you get hit back?
No.
And he knocks your brains out? Like, why do we have that? Men don't have a cop out for that. But if a woman hits a man who's stronger than him, There's always a cop out. Then she's the victim. Oh, never hit a, no offense, but never hit a woman, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you hit him first. Get out of here. And now we're having cases where men are dying from women, like in Florida, where that OnlyFans model, did you guys hear about that?
No.
There was an OnlyFans model who killed her boyfriend. And at first they thought it was like a mutually abusive relationship.
His name was Christian Obumseli, and he was Nigerian. Got to make sure we point that out.
Now CCTV footage, I don't know if it's called the same thing there, but elevator footage has come out, and it's of her like literally beating the shit out of him. And like, what, she doesn't deserve to get hit?
I mean,
equal rights, equal lefts, baby.
I guess the counter argument to that is if a woman hits me, it's not going to do, with the vast majority of cases, that much damage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we had Veronica Hardy in this.
Got to make sure we put that heifer's name out there. They killed Christian Obumseli too. Her name was Courtney Cleaney. Yeah, we gonna make sure her name is out there. So just want to make sure everybody understands who they were talking about.
Studio with her husband Dan, and Veronica's a UFC fighter, and Veronica would destroy me in a matter of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is, I can hit harder than the vast majority of women and cause more damage.
Yeah, so then it's on the women to not hit the men. Why would you hit someone stronger than you?
Well, this is what I was going to ask you.
And this is what I mean. Like, when we look at society, there's always like a bailout. So even right there, like, you did it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of like little things that we don't notice in societies where it's like, never hit a woman. Why? Why does she
It's
get
not a bad thing to teach your son. However, there are exceptions. So this is what I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
Imagine you're walking down the street with your girlfriend, and a woman runs over and starts beating up your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Never hit a woman?
Yeah. So to me, I would physically restrain her, and I would.
What if she started beating you up?
What if she had a knife?
You couldn't restrain her.
What happens if she had a knife?
Or a stick.
So let's stop and deal with that point right there, because see, these little soft beta male motherfuckers right here, y'all gonna see why I'm saying that later on. But let's deal with what they said. Okay, I'm a man, I'm out with a lady, okay, my lady or whatever. And then a bunch of women start jumping on her. Okay, here's where my role as a protector comes in, okay? She's with me. I'm responsible for her safety. If it's one-on-one, that's another story. But now, if it's a bunch of them, yeah, I'm going to make sure that I get you off her. I'm going to try to break that shit up in a way where I don't hurt them. But now your ass pull out some weapons, okay, we both about to get down on your ass. Because see, I'm going to tell you something. Any woman that has dealt with me casually or seriously, she learns how to fight from me, okay? I personally train them. That's a requirement to be with me. If you don't like fighting, you can't be with me. I got to make sure you know how to defend yourself outside of my presence. So now you go and jump on my lady, and it's more than one, okay, yeah, I'm not going to stand there and watch her get jumped now. That's not going to happen. Now, does that mean I got to start, knocking people out? No. I'm going to try to get her out of the situation. Go ahead on with that bullshit. Or if you want to fight, square up one-on-one. Okay, and then, hey, however that go, you start getting the better of them. I'm going to make sure you're not going to seriously injure her. Okay, all right, hey, fight over with, go ahead about your business. Before I stand there watching you jump on a chick done with, no, I ain't about to let you do that now. So, like I said, I just want to take the time to address that, because I know some people are like, man, he probably ain't going to say nothing about that. Because you'll be surprised who watches this channel, a bunch of goofballs. But yeah, there you have it. That's my stance on that. Let's let it continue.
Or a fucking...
Okay, right. Okay, then in that case, yes.
But my whole point in this is like, see right there, that's a bailout. The woman made a bad decision and we put it on the men to bail them out.
Yeah.
Mm.
So it's like, again, if we're making it a strength argument, right? We're talking about strength. Yeah. You hitting Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he can't hit you back then.
Yeah.
But see, it's a gender thing. It's like women are always seen as the victim. Yeah. Even if they started it. And that was my point, like, with that post, is like, these women will play the victim on my show. And this has happened so many times where a girl will come forward, I was abused, this happened. Then I start asking questions. And this is the thing, like, in society, they act like we can't ask any questions when a woman says abuse, says, I don't say the R word on my grape, whatever. Yeah. But then you say, did you press charges? No. Well, why are you publicly defaming a man's character? Because people know who you dated. So
we've had a bunch of feminists on the show, and I can hear their voices in my head right now.
Yeah.
And here's what they would say. They would say, look, if you look at the statistics, a woman is much more likely to be killed or rape or whatever by her own partner. So the biggest threat to a woman is the man that she's living with, right? Women are way more likely to be...
Men are more likely to be victims of a violent crime.
Yeah.
Who cares who's the perpetrator?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's interject some common sense because all three of these people are morons sitting up here. First and foremost, let's correct the subject that they're addressing right now. Whether it's a man or a woman, the person that you're a live-in spouse to, if something happens, either one of you is considered a suspect. And that makes sense, okay? That makes sense. That's what they should have said. See, for me, I'm not one of these people that when white people say something, I'm like, oh my God, did you hear how wise they are? No, I call them the idiots that they are when they don't clarify things and make it make sense, okay? So let's just go ahead and get that part corrected. So now, what she was saying before that, when it comes to teaching girls not to hit men, yes, I do agree with that. That's definitely something you should do. And say, look, unless somebody's trying to physically harm you, don't run up putting your damn hands on nobody, especially a man that's stronger than you. Our hands are 17 times stronger than women's hands, particularly those of us that have had some type of training, former fighters or competitors or ex-soldiers. Okay, some of us are both. Okay, there's people that know my history on that as well. We have a measure of restraint. But again, like I just said earlier, if you put my life in danger and I have no choice but to defend myself, all bets are off. All bets are off. Okay? Now, when it comes to what she's saying here, understand that she's not just saying that because she's pandering. This woman is angry at white men. See, this is the part that a lot of people wouldn't break down. Look at that psychotic look on her face. See, everybody's heard of the 1,000-yard stare, right? I want you to look right up there at that screen and look right into her eyes while this screen is paused here. Does that woman really look like somebody that's altogether there? I really want you to look at that, right? I want you to look at her while she's talking. This woman has contempt for white women, in particular, since that's her competition that's beating her out. And you may as well say other attractive women in general, okay? See, one thing about them white guys that's over there in the Manosphere, they don't trust turncoats over there. They have their little spats back and forth with each other. But as far as their women, you know that their women are the most treacherous creatures on the planet. Yes, goddamn it, I said it. History backs me up. Try to argue with me, go down the archives on this channel and tell me I'm wrong then. And I can pull other things to show you to back up my point. Yes, they are. They are the most treacherous creatures on this planet. And their men know that. Where do you think their men learn white supremacy from? Let it continue.
If men are more likely to be victims of, because then they'll always say, oh, well, I can't walk home alone at night. I got attacked by a whale because of that statement. Yeah, I just think who cares who does it?
Do you not think, though, that if we live in a society where we have what biologists call sexual dimorphism, like men are different to women physically, right? Mm-hmm. Men are bigger, stronger, etc. Because women are physically, on average, less able to protect themselves, we should have some sort of extra care. I'm not saying, never hit a woman, because I can envisage a situation where in self-defense or whatever, that may happen. But we have to teach men to be extra careful with the strength that they have, particularly when they're dealing with women. I
think we should teach the women not to hit someone stronger than them. Like, I don't understand. Why do we put it on the men? Put it on the women. Don't hit, you should teach the women, don't hit anyone if you don't expect to get hit back.
I agree with that.
And I don't think anyone should be able to press charges on a guy. If she hit first, she started it.
Yeah, but what about if she hit first and then it escalated and as a result of that, she was severely beaten? That surely should be able to press charges because the level of violence is disproportionate to the situation.
If you hit Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson first and then he beat the shit out of you.
Well, it depends. If you gave him brain damage, I think it probably could press charges.
Yeah, absolutely, because it'd be grievous bodily harm. Because the whole
Now, notice what she's doing here, because this is absolutely disgusting. She keeps saying, well, if you hit Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he be able to beat the shit out of you. Okay, that's different if you're dealing with men. Of course, if I'm a man and a woman is a threat to me, again, if I neutralize that threat, let's just say she has a knife, I get that knife out of her hand. I'm not going to keep beating her like she's a man. I'm not going to do that. Because at that point, you cross over from self-defense to overkill then. That wouldn't hold up in a court of law, okay? But now, if you got something on you and I can't get it out your hands, I'm going to do whatever's necessary to neutralize the threat. But see, this heifer right here, she plays like she's stupid. No, this woman knows exactly what she's doing and what she's saying, okay? So I just wanted to take the time to go ahead and responsibly address that on my channel since I'm showing you all this here tonight. I want y'all to keep studying this, though. Again, keep looking at her face while she's talking.
At least in English law, and there'll be somebody who corrects me on this, it's self-defense, Pearl. It's self-defense. If you attack me, I'm allowed to defend myself, but then it comes a point where I'm no longer defending myself and I become the aggressor. Do you see?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I just genuinely believe that you should not hit someone and not expect to get hit back. That's my opinion on it.
There is a logic to that.
And I just don't think you can really play the victim if you hit first. Like, you hit first.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's one thing if it's like, what? Go ahead.
You shouldn't hit people, right?
Yeah, but it's just interesting how in society it's like, see, you kind of like, not just you, it's like very common.
Yeah.
We always like take the responsibility off of the women and like put it on the men somehow.
Yeah.
I think, you know what, while I think the way that you're talking is quite blunt about it, there is some truth to what you're saying. And more broadly, there's other areas where I think that probably applies as well, right?
Yeah.
Just beyond the physical stuff. What, like, can you give us some other examples of what you're talking about? Things that you talk to people on the show about?
Like, one thing is that men shouldn't sleep with so many women. And they'll say like men are responsible for all the whores, you know? But I really think it's on the whores for being whores. No, I'm serious. It's like, well, they'll be like, well, if the men weren't sleeping around, but it's like, okay, what % of men can sleep around?
Right.
1 out of 3 men are sexless. So by this logic, like it's more on the women than the men, but it's like, then they put it on the small percentage of men that are sleeping around. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
I don't know if you've heard that argument or not.
I haven't actually, no.
She didn't hear the argument until she paid Kevin Samuels $1,000. Boy, she got her money's worth with that $1,000. She must have took down everything he knew because she's just regurgitating everything he said. So now let's look at this. Whether you agree or disagree with what she's saying or not, put that to the side for a minute. Ask yourself this question. If she was considered conventionally attractive, and all the men in here know what I mean by that, all you women should too. If she was considered conventionally attractive, do you think this woman would be sitting up here talking like this? Ask yourself when the last time you seen a woman that's conventionally attractive. And you know what? Let me not even just say conventionally attractive. I'm going to go here with it. Universally attractive. Now, what do I mean by that? I'm talking about, I don't care what race the woman is. A woman that you can put anywhere on this planet and she walk in where there's men and they go, who the hell is she? That's what I mean by universally attractive. And we all know that a Lizzo or somebody like Roseanne Barr would not qualify for universally attractive. We talking about the Kelly Rowlands. God, I hate to go here. I'm just going to throw a name out there that the white guys say attractive. Scarlett Johansson, people like that, okay? That's what I mean when I say universally attractive. If this woman looked like either it had the shape or looks of those women I just named, just two for example, you think she'd be sitting up here talking like that? Let's let it continue.
Yeah.
I've never heard anyone blame the men for the fact that women are doing a lot of sleeping around. That's
really
weird.
I hear it all the time. They always say like women but the men are sleeping around when we talk about like women being whores. Yeah. It's like, but the men slept with her too. But I think it's 100% the woman's fault if you get pregnant. Yeah.
It's interesting. Why?
100%. Because we have 41 forms of birth control. And
what if birth control fails?
Condoms.
What if someone
Abortion.
Someone who was using condoms and birth control.
Abortion.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're saying pregnant.
Adoption. I mean, I don't believe in abortion, but it's legal. So then you have 100% control over who's born as a woman. So adoption.
But if you have
support.
sex, there's always a risk of pregnancy. You know, so is that really fair to say? That
yes.
But I guess
because the man only has one choice. I guess you could do 2 vasectomies: condom, no condom.
Yeah.
Right. Where the woman has like 20 choices. Abortion, no abortion. Plan B or no plan B. 41 forms of birth control or no 41 forms of birth control. What else is there? Adoption, no adoption. Child support, no child support. Letting him have access to his kids, not letting him have access to his kids. The women have all the choice. So it's like, if we have all the choice, why don't we have all the responsibility?
Now I'm gonna show you right there. See that right there, what you just heard her just rattle off right there? Okay. This is why these coons and sambos support her, because they have such an issue with women that even though what she said makes sense, yes, she's making sense. Anybody with a brain can see that, okay? Any man can see that. But the white supremacy factor is what we're talking about here. See, they're willing to throw all that to the side, but yeah, she's speaking for the men. Again, for the dumbasses that say that, you don't, I'm going to make it plain because I already said it. I'm going to make it even more simple. If you really think she's helping the men, and not just Pearl, any of them, whether they're in the black or the white manosphere, but particularly over there, the white ones, would what she say help you more or what she does help you more? A rich one with political connections, wouldn't you rather have her advocating in these courtrooms and to change the laws? Or would you rather just have her sitting up on her YouTube platform saying what you want to hear? Silly Sambos, if you don't understand that choice, it ain't nothing nobody can do for you. Let's let them get back to it.
Because there's two people involved in the creation of a child.
Right, but there's 6 choices for the woman and 1 for the man. And the other thing, like the woman can lie where the man can't. The woman can say she's on birth control, say she took the Plan B, say she has an IUD, and the man could be sleeping with someone and not even know that, where the woman knows if he's wearing a condom or not wearing a condom. So there's only one situation, like the woman is the only one that's in a situation where she can fully consent to everything, assuming there's no grape, whatever, because she knows all the details where the man doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, also, there's several instances of a man removing a condom during sex, a woman not noticing, and a man ejaculating in a woman.
I don't believe that. I feel like that's like a cop-out, to be honest.
Do you think? Okay.
Yeah, I feel like the girls just say that. I don't really believe it. You didn't notice? Okay.
So what I'm curious about is what happens when you say all this to a bunch of random people that you've brought in off the street?
They're like super understanding.
So now I got to deal with what she just said there, okay? Because see, I'm going to tell these irresponsible statements apart piece by piece. She said that she don't believe that it's not possible for a man to take the condom off and a woman not notice. This is how you can tell this is a woman that doesn't get any sex. Because if you having sex to that point, yes, it's possible for a woman to not notice that right away. It is, especially if she's not looking at that or whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's possible. That is very possible. Now, does that absolve the women of responsibility of who they choose to have sexual partners? No, it doesn't. I'm not in no way, shape, or form absolving the women of having personal responsibility about who you choose to lay down with. You better make sure it's somebody you can trust. So here's the other thing we got to throw in here, because see, I like to be balanced and use common sense with these types of issues. Let's just say a dude did take the condom off, and then, okay, the woman does notice it, but he don't stop. What then, Pearl? What then? See, this bitch right here, I'm gonna tell y'all something, man. The dudes that's caping for her, they buck dance and sambos, they willing to ignore her racist and anti-black racist and white supremacist statements. The fact that she had a whole white supremacist on her podcast, they're agreeing with him. Never mind that means that she's also a white supremacist because, hey, birds of a feather flock together, okay? They'll throw all that out the window, and then they don't look at things from the point of view of common sense, like I just stated. Like, yes, that has happened, that is possible. And if it does happen, what then? You see what I'm saying? See, I'm the type of person, I always like to use common sense, look at what evidence is there. And of course, you ask questions when somebody makes an accusation, because look, we see how men get accused of things, especially if you're a black man. This is why you brothers better be careful, especially if you finna go over there and mess with that class of woman. I know what they say. Well, man, what about the black women? Yeah, I'm telling you, be careful with any woman you're dealing with. Goes for the sisters too. You better make sure you know what type of brothers you're dealing with out here. It's all about getting to know who you dealing with so you don't end up in fucked up situations like they're talking about right here and other things, okay? So I just wanted to take the time to point that out. I want y'all to listen to what she's about to say, though, because they finna start talking about black people in a minute.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
No, they're
Says
like
Americans don't get irony.
I got whale attacked for one of these opinions because this girl, I was doing street interviews, and this girl was like, I can't walk home alone at night. My life is so hard. And I was just like, she was a whale, you know what I mean? And I only say
You mean
this.
she was overweight?
Very fat, yeah.
Yeah.
And so what she did was she was like, and I was like, well, why don't you just not live in a big city? Why don't you just live somewhere safer? Why don't you just not walk home alone at night in a big city? Men are more likely to be victims of a violent crime. And then she's like, well, and then she attacks me. She tries to, she's like, I'll have you, you slag. I didn't know what a slag meant. Okay, I didn't even know what a slag was, but she was like, I'll have you, you slag. I'll have you. And I was like, have me? Like, what? and so then she like knocks the mic out of my hand. My friend had to like pull her away. And then I got it taken off of my YouTube for privacy. Bitch, you attacked me. And she wouldn't leave my, yeah, sorry. So yeah, they're really understanding. Yeah.
That's so, I'm kind of lost for words a little bit because.
Yeah, she was like super nice. I love Britain.
Yeah. You see some of those girls up and down high streets on a Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on the girl. Like some girls, I've had girls say they've changed their entire opinion. Yeah. I've had some girls say they never thought of it that way.
Have you always had these opinions, or has your view of this evolved over time?
I've always been more conservative. Some things, I recently decided that women shouldn't vote.
You decided women shouldn't vote?
Yeah, that's a new opinion.
Why is that?
Okay.
I'll take one for the team, yeah.
Okay, why shouldn't women?
Now, I want you to pay close attention to this segment where she's talking about, I recently decided women shouldn't vote. See, this right here lets you know that everything that I told you about her hating her competition as far as white women in white society is true. See, this is what happens when an unattractive woman says, okay, fuck it, I will flip the whole table over on you asses. I can't get what the rest of you get. I got something for you. Let me show you how much I can't stand your asses. You see what I'm saying? Because, see, there's no white woman in their right frame of mind that's going to go along with that. Nobody, okay? Listen to what she's about to say. And our brothers in the chat room, those of you who are moderators, be very careful. Make sure you don't time anybody out that doesn't say anything egregious. The brother Charlie Ace is good people. You know, he wasn't saying anything. He was talking about Pearl not being attractive. So y'all be careful with the friendly fire. Make sure you get the trolls the business, though. The trolls that come over with the goofy stuff, y'all know the Uber the ass on up out of here. But I want y'all to listen to this exchange they're finna have about white women in particular in voting, because that's what they're really talking about. Okay, they ain't talking about, black women at all. When they say women, that's white women, okay? I want y'all to listen to what she's about to say.
Because we're chemically different every single day.
Right.
Yeah, and okay, we make 70.
Well, hold on. Does that mean you shouldn't be on YouTube then? Because you're chemically different. Your opinions could be bullshit. Because
they could be, yeah. Should I be banned off of YouTube? What does that have to do with voting? It's like a false equivalency.
Okay.
So to me, it's like, okay, I feel like if shit goes south, who's going to war? Okay, I'm gonna let me start from the beginning. Let me start. Actually, I want to start from how
you don't want to be jumping on this fucking train. Believe me.
I want to start with how I got this opinion.
Okay.
I want to start. Let me. Okay, because I heard from a guy named Rollo Tomasi, genius, right? Very, very smart.
He's a pickup artist, isn't he?
Now, you heard what Rollo Tomasi thinks of her at the beginning of this broadcast, if you caught the beginning of it. If you didn't, go back and catch the playback at the beginning. This is hilarious.
No.
Is he not?
No.
I don't know anything about that world. No. What is he?
So, no, he a lot of the stuff in the space of YouTube, like he's just like one of the thought leaders, I would say.
Okay.
But he's not a pickup artist.
No.
Okay.
No.
Is he the Italian comedian who's in his 70s and talks about... No, it's not.
No, he's not.
No.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead. We keep interrupting you.
Because I feel like when I say this, it sounds crazy.
It does a little bit.
Yeah, and when I first heard it, I thought it was crazy. Okay. But what I heard was that women didn't want to vote. So when I was like...
What do you mean women didn't want to vote?
Like the first
They threw themselves under fucking carriages to vote.
Some did, right? But was that women at large?
I don't know.
No, it wasn't. The majority of women back then, we always talk about the suffragettes, but there was also the anti-suffragettes.
Yes.
And that was the majority of women, when asked if they wanted to vote, said no. In the US. I don't know what it was like here.
Okay.
This is US. And I was like, why did women not want to vote? Now, So I read some of their writings from back then, okay? And they basically said this is the beginning of the breakdown of the family. Because back then, when you got married, you became one, and you trusted your husband to make that decision, okay? Now, that was one argument, and I was like, okay, well, but society's a little different today. Argument number 2. Back then, they had to be drafted. So any woman that wanted to vote had to go to war, because you're voting, in the US anyway, for your commander-in-chief. Because if they go to war, who's gonna have to deal with the consequence? And that's where we're at, is because if shit goes south and we go to war, the men are the ones that are gonna have to deal with the consequences. So yeah, I felt like if we want to vote, we should be equally, because women want equality, equally drafted, just like the men. And
now I got to go ahead and deal with this jackass making this statement right here. Okay. What she's saying is stupid tactically from the standpoint of warfare. And I'm going to break down exactly why. See, this is the problem with women like her jumping up, running their mouths when they don't know anything. Okay. And when they don't have practical common sense. Understand that right now we see today women can go into the military over here in this country, but they're not drafted. Okay. The reason why, and I don't care who this offends, women, even when you look at every branch of the military, they don't do exactly what men do when it comes to the designated role of combat. I'm talking about frontline combat. There's a reason why you haven't had any women who are Navy SEALs, etc., etc. Okay. Now, can they fight? Sure. But their roles are more in the auxiliary capacity. All right. It's the same reason if you have firefighters, jobs where it requires some strength, you might have to pick somebody up and pull them out of harm's way. The average woman cannot do that. Here's the other reason why it's stupid for her to suggest that women be drafted too for the sake of equality. If you draft the women and the men and send them off to war, where there's no such thing as a war without casualties in the current state that we're living in today, okay? What happens if you take heavy casualties and you don't win? Now you've taken out the reproductive part of your society. You see why you don't draft women and send them off to war? I get the argument she's trying to make, but see, she's too stupid to think beyond just trying to pander to somebody. No, you don't do that. Because if the women, most of the women and the men get killed, how you going to replenish your population numbers? You see right now why white men don't let women like this have a platform? Oh, but these Negroes over here in the black manosphere space, oh, Queen Pearl. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? See, let me tell you something. One thing that I despise is incompetence. I don't care which gender it is, okay? But see, when you have people, these book dancing sambos just willing to put the cape on for this woman after the asinine statement that she just made, and I just broke down why, we got to separate from them people. Those people are there's no hope for them, man. So in a way, I'm thankful that she has a platform because, see, for me, this making it easy to see where everybody stands. Hey, gather all these sambos up and let them go over there, okay, and make sure they stay over there, okay? Because, see, we're going to put that scarlet letter on all these fools' head that's sitting up here caping for. I want y'all to hear the rest of the asinine statement she's about to make. Let's let her continue.
Now you're thinking, we don't have the draft anymore, right? That's probably your thought. However, we have selective service in the US, meaning that if a man, and if there's a crisis, right, and we do go to war, the men have to be like they then can be taken to, I'm butchering it a little bit. Does that make sense? But, yeah. And if they don't do this, they're fined $100,000. Is that equal? Is that fair? Where we have the same rights, but we don't have the same responsibilities if shit goes south? I don't think that's fair. So I thought about it. Would I want to be in selective service if I had to pick? My answer is no. No, I will give up the right to vote to not have to do that. And I think that would be fair. I think feminists, they want equality, but they don't want the responsibility that comes with it. That's my opinion.
Okay.
Look how she said, that's my opinion. Oh my God. This woman here is just disgusting to me. But see, I want to further touch on when it comes to women in warfare. Okay, now, are there some women that are good snipers? Yes. I know some women, man, that boy, they can throw a damn dime up in the air and shoot that motherfucker down at 100 paces. I'm telling you, that's no exaggeration. There are some women that are crack top-notch snipers. In fact, there are some historically legendary women snipers, okay? So I'm not discounting women's credit to the military, but as far as like the up-close, dirty, grimy shit, they're not so much effective at that role, and that's okay. You put the women more in an auxiliary role, communications officers, okay? All right, you got your technicians, all right? These are the roles that they would be better served at. That doesn't mean that they're not trained to fight, okay? Because if you go into any branch of the military, you're going to be trained to fight, okay? Some of us will go in with silver tags and some of us will come out like black tags, like myself, okay? That's a whole story for another day. People that know me know exactly what I mean by coming out with black tags, okay? But like I said, I'm just making this clear. I'm not discounting the women that are in the armed forces. We respect you. You know what I'm saying? We love you. We want you to come home safe. I don't advocate for any of our sisters to go into the military, and I'm gonna say a name, and y'all gonna know why. Private Lavinia Johnson. Okay, if you don't know who Lavinia Johnson is, look up what happened to that sister. That's heartbreaking. And if you are in the military, Professor Black Truth did an excellent moment of truth this morning, and he made the point that any of us that have been service members, you better know if you black, you're gonna have to stick together. I mean, until you come out of there. So I don't advocate for none of our young people to go, especially our women. But if you're in there, it's life or death for you to really be on code because, like I said, white supremacists are in every branch of the armed forces and law enforcement. A lot of people would try to make the claim, well, there ain't going to be white supremacists in there because y'all got the same enemy. Listen, all you got to do is look at history. They've hung some of our brothers and sisters that were veterans in uniform coming back home. Private Lavinia Johnson, again, I hate to even just bring that up, but I'm making a point. So if you think that there's no racism and white supremacy in the military, you done lost your damn mind. Now, when you see it right there in like a conflict situation, no, because everybody got sense enough to know, okay, if we gonna come back home, we got to put that shit to the side. As far as just in the barracks and just everyday life, non-combat, oh yeah, it's alive and well. Anybody tell you different, they full of shit. I know firsthand. But anyway, I want y'all to listen to the rest of this, right? Because they finna really get interesting here in a minute.
Now, what's interesting about that is in some countries, like Israel, it's men and women do national service.
Yeah, I don't want that.
So
keep me out of that. Keep me.
But also, women are far more likely to vote for peaceful and left-leaning parties.
Women are more likely to wage war. Fun fact: in the last 500 years, queens were more likely to wage war than kings.
Also, I would dispute the idea that left-wing parties are more peaceful, but
yeah. So you think, and so you genuinely believe that women shouldn't be allowed to vote?
Well, okay. I'm gonna caveat this.
Okay.
I don't think it's likely this will ever happen.
yeah.
I'm
we can
never
agree on
really
that.
gonna campaign for this to happen. Like, how could nowadays? However, I think the outcomes would be better.
Okay.
And now this goes back into the documentary that I'm making. So I'm making a documentary on the court system here in the UK. I wish I brought my notebook because I have it all laid out in my note. I should have brought my notebook. I didn't. But the issue in the UK is that men only get custody of their kids 10% of the time. Would you agree that's crazy?
Yes.
Would you agree if your kid, you should get 50-50 custody?
It depends.
Off the bat.
It depends.
Off
Well,
the bat.
I actually don't agree with that.
Okay, go ahead.
And I'll tell you why I don't agree with it. And this will make me very problematic because I am suggesting that men and women are different. But as someone who has a young child, they're way better off with their mother on average.
Under the age of 8. Over the age of 8, the kids have better outcomes with the father. Single father homes have significantly better outcomes than single
Under their
mother.
age of 8, though, they need their mother.
True.
But it's all case specific because if the mother is a psycho, then no. And if the father is abusive, then no, right?
Or has addiction issues or whatever else.
I personally think that it's 50-50. It's 50% his DNA. He should, off the bat, be entitled to 50-50 custody. Now, they could talk about it based on his work schedule and then switch it, but off the bat, 50-50 custody. Would you agree that 10% of the time, men getting access to their children being the primary custody hold, like that's insane.
There's a lot of problems with the way that divorce is handled, etc. I mean, I know people who, someone who was married for a couple of years, they were both professional people working. Her career and income were not in any way affected. and then they divorced after a couple of years, and she got a shit ton of his money for no fucking reason.
Yeah, I'll tell you about this guy that I interviewed yesterday, and it's going to tie into the voting thing, but it's just going to take a second. So he has 3 daughters, okay? 3. And he was married to a good girl for 10 years. She was like of a Muslim background, so they had like the same, does that make sense? Same background.
Yeah, of course.
The marriage ended, right? And all of a sudden there was a restraining order put out against him and an allegation of abuse. Why was there allegations of abuse? Because in the UK, you get free lawyers if you claim that the man abused you. So now he has to pay for a house that's not his. Okay, so he has to, because the house is in his name, and he's kicked out of the house because of the restraining order. He doesn't have access to his kids. And on top of that, he has to pay child support every month. He loses his job because he's he's homeless now. Loses his job. He doesn't have access to his kids because he's working in like electricity or something. And it's like a very high stress job. And like, you can't have a guy that's
who's not focused.
So he loses his job. Now his option is he goes to the lawyers, right? And the lawyers, he has 2 choices. He can either accept the restraining order and accept and plead guilty basically to abuse, or he can pay 20 to 30,000 pounds and fight for his kids. And the odds he gets his kids is 10%. And this time the mom is no longer letting him see the kids. They're a mile away from him, 3 daughters. He hasn't seen them in a year and a half. So what happens next? He tries to fight. Now he's broke and he goes to court. And the problem is these girls go to women's shelters. And at the women's shelters, they basically know the system of how to get the most money and the most time with the kids, right? And the other issue with the lawyers is that because they get free counsel from the women's shelter, what incentive do they have to really help the guy? I mean, their number 1 clients are women. So a lot of these men are given bad advice in court. So now it takes him a year and a half to even be able to fight the restraining order, to even get a chance to get access to his children.
The reason why she's parroting all of this, again, I got to point this out, is because she's not going to have access to any white men in particular with significant resources that's going to allow themselves to be put in that situation by her. That's what she's really pissed about. See, I see through this bullshit. Other women do too, okay? Again, if she was attractive and she was able to get the type of white man she wants, she wouldn't be saying none of this shit. He wouldn't be saying none of this shit at all.
Like and remember, just 1 phone call. You can't go home. You don't have your kids. So then he tries to fight it. He's still in court over the whole thing, right? But this is where a lot of men commit suicide. I certainly would think about it if I was in that situation where they took out, and he's in his 40s and 50s. It's not like he's a young guy. I mean, how old are you guys?
40.
40. So you can imagine everything being, like your business being taken, your house being taken, your kids being taken tomorrow. Now, the question is, why is this legal for her to do this? There's no repercussion. Like, isn't that a fair question?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, why is it legal for her to deny access to the kids with no legal repercussion? Oh, actually, let me get through it. So let's say he gets his kids. Let's say he gets to court, he fights it, he wins, and if he doesn't get primary custody, which he only could get 10% of the time, so most likely he loses, spends all this money in all this debt, still paying for his old house. He could get his kids 6 days a month. Finally, the court gives him his kids. She can just do it all over again. She can just file another restraining order. It takes him a year and a half. The other issue, it takes, what happens to 2 years without seeing your kids? It's a different child.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what she's been telling the kid. They might not even want to see you after 2 years. Why is this legal? Like, why? Why on earth? And that's my question. Like, why on earth is this legal? Like, this is an atrocity. I started asking my Uber drivers. There are so many Uber drivers that I've had that talked about how they're Ubering because their ex-wife screwed them over in divorce. So why is this happening? Family court, okay? It's not based on if you're guilty or if you're innocent. It's based on a balance of probabilities. So you can accuse someone of something with no evidence and no repercussions. And again, the women's group comes in with all their lawyers. The man comes in broke. He comes in with nothing. Half the time he can't even defend himself. And if he does, again, $20,000 to $30,000, the lawyers do not have his best interest at heart. Now let's say he gets lucky, right? He wins, he gets the kids for 6 days a month. What happens? She can do it over again. And it's legal because the politicians pander to women because the biggest swing voting group is women. And what incentive do the men have, do the politicians have to change the laws when they're not going to be reelected? And that's happening right in front of our eyes.
And what do you think should happen instead?
It should be 50-50 custody off the bat. I think they should not have free counsel just like for abuse, because it went up 200, allegations of abuse went up 200% in 2013 when they switched that law in the UK. So I think that it should be 50-50 custody off the bat. And I don't, in terms of restraining orders, I don't think it should be that easy to just get a restraining order against a guy. But the problem is in the courts too, is that it's based on, you only have to convince one judge. And we're in a society where if a woman cries and is saying, oh, he abused me, he did this, we just automatically believe them.
No, not just if a woman cries, if a white woman cries. See, family, I'm letting this play because I want you to see now what the appeal to her, to them buck dancing sambos is. All of this shit that she parroted, by the way, she don't believe in none of this shit because if she was married to a man right now, whoever would be dumb enough or have low self-esteem enough to marry her ass and actually have some resources, she would rely on everything that she's talking about. She wouldn't, no, there's no way. Now, most women are not geared to do what's not in their best interest. It doesn't make biological sense. Whether you agree, good, bad, right, or wrong, women are always going to do what's in their best interest. They don't give two shits about what's fair, what's not fair. All they care about, in general, all races, is, am I going to be okay? You have a small percentage that are the exception to the rule today in this society, in America. Okay? She knows she doesn't believe in any of this shit. But see, again, them butt dancing sambos, they willing to eat this up hook, line, and sinker without looking at everything that I explained here tonight about what her real motives are for stating this shit. Let's let her get back to it.
I mean, when's the last time a girl said to you or anyone in a room that they were raped, they were assaulted, they were anything, and anyone really asked questions? And I didn't. When I first started the show, I just openly believed women. But then you start asking questions and shit doesn't add up. And a lot of times at these women's shelters, they're instructing the women with what to say to get the most money out of the men. And oftentimes that's accusing them of abuse. So, the idea that like, there are repercussions for women voting, and a lot of times it's at the expense of men because all of the politicians are catering to the women because they are the biggest swing voting group.
Wouldn't I mean, there's a lot of counter arguments to what you're saying, but wouldn't one of them be that we lived in a society in which, because men were the ones that had the vote, and by the way, actually men mostly didn't have the vote for quite a long time as well. It was just rich men, but.
I would be okay with that too.
Yeah, I can tell.
Yeah.
But
I just feel like why do you get a say in something you're not paying into? Men pay into it way more than women do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, women now earn more, particularly young women, than young men.
Yeah, but on average across society, men pay way more tax. Particularly over the course of a lifetime. Partly it's because women take time to have children. And I mean, that's also another argument there. Like, you can't just measure your contribution to society by the amount of tax you pay. Bringing up the next generation is a hugely valuable thing that women do. They're not paid for it necessarily, right?
But shouldn't those women do that with their husbands?
How do you mean?
Like, why do we want to be in, like, you should have the same opinions. You should be voting for the same person as your husband.
Why?
Why?
He's got a lefty girlfriend who annoys everyone. Well, no,
she does annoy everyone.
Yeah.
Now, this is the part where I have to take the time to point this out, family. Notice that the context they're speaking in, they're talking about in white society. See, this is why we often over here in New Black Media Spaces try to tell these people, you don't have any camaraderie with the dominant society. When they're speaking about these issues, they're not talking about all people. They're talking about white folks. Now, some dummies will say, that ain't what they said. All you got to do is listen to what they're saying, okay? All you got to do is listen to what they're saying. They're not talking about us because, see, let's be clear on something. The reason why you cannot have no camaraderie with these people, their issues are not the same as those of ours in Black society. Those of us with common sense, we know that, okay? We know that. But when you listen to what they're talking about here, as far as like people not having the right to vote, this, that, the third, they're not talking about this. No. But see them Sambos, they'll argue down, man. No, that ain't what they exactly said. See, some of these people are too slow to even do anything with. Why don't y'all listen to the rest of this, though?
I just think it's better for the family unit if everyone's on the same page. Like, I don't know. You want to be in a house where you're arguing about politics?
Yes.
Yeah.
I want someone who thinks differently to me.
That's what we do. We argue about politics all the time. Not with my wife, by the way,
No.
but with Frances,
Yeah,
who's my work wife.
Yeah.
We think.
I mean, that's fine. I just think, like, I just prefer more traditional relationships. So I just prefer relationships where you're submitting to your husband's authority.
Okay, but that's great.
And like, yeah.
You know, sign me up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are lots of women who don't want that. Shouldn't they be allowed to do that?
Yeah, they can. I mean, I can't take away the vote. It's here. But I actually would be okay with, you know what, I've thought about this too, because, you know, I'm like, are women really not going to be able to vote? I feel like the outcomes, my opinion, to be more precise, it's probably that the outcomes would be better if women didn't vote. I'll take one for the team. However, I would be okay with the taxpayer thing, but, you know, where it's like I think it's like only net taxpayers can vote.
Well, that in this country would mean half the country doesn't vote.
Yeah.
Which I'm down. I'm down.
I just feel like, okay, because if you're voting, okay, if I'm getting free stuff from the government, why would I ever vote against that? Why would I? So then you're just going to get more free stuff and more free stuff. Like, it just...
Pearl, can I ask you something?
Yeah.
There's a combination of things going on here.
Yeah.
On the one hand, I actually think some, not all, but some of the things you say objectively are not untrue. And what I mean by that is they're true, right? But also, is there a part of you that's saying them in the way that you're saying them because you're being a bit of a troll? Yeah.
Am I saying them?
The way that you're saying
I
them.
do say things for comedic effect at times.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't say things I don't believe. I change my opinion sometimes. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, but
He
what
said
I mean...
yes. He said no.
No.
He said yes as in just to
Yeah.
go along with it. But
Yeah.
No, it doesn't answer my question.
Salute to the brother Charlie Ace for the cash out. Now, family, everything that you've seen thus far, now do you see that she's a con artist all the way across the board and exactly why her own men don't want shit to do with her, but these buck dancing dummies, I got to keep pointing it out, they go pick up the white man's trash. Yes, I'm calling her trash. I put that thumbnail title in there for a reason. This is a pearl to cast among swine. If you're intelligent, you see what I'm saying? The whole thing is fraudulent. There's no woman in any race on the planet that would go this hard against things that are in their best interest. Even though I understand that a lot of this shit is unfair. I get it. Okay? I would love to see shit fair across the board for everybody, especially when it comes to marriage and family court. Hey, that no fault divorce shit, that shit needs to go. And you should have to pay a penalty if there's no fault and you just want to up and get out your marriage. Yeah, it should be a penalty for either gender that does that. Okay? But we see that the women that do it the most, up to 70%, goes up to 90% if they have a college degree. I would love to see this shit straightened out fairly. But see, I recognize when somebody is full of shit, just like her. That's why them white men ain't gonna let her come over there. And see, these two little goofballs here that sitting here talking back and forth with her, she don't realize, like y'all been saying in the chat room, everything she say, they're making her look real bad, okay? And see, understand, Pearl and Candace Owens have something in common. Remember, she likes Candace Owens. Notice that Candace Owens isn't supported by white women. Pearl isn't supported by white women. Let that sink in.
Because I guess what I'm asking you is, are you saying things in a more incendiary, inflammatory way because you know that gets attention?
You mean like calling women whales?
Yes.
No, I just think it's funny.
Men can be whales too, by the way.
I know.
Yeah. It means something different. But is there
but the men whale, no, okay, I need to say this.
All right.
The
Okay,
men whales accept their outcomes. They don't complain.
That's
and
true.
that's what I'm sick of.
Well, no, that's not true.
The
What
male
about
whales,
incels?
the male, oh, what percent? Come on. Like,
Let me go ahead and clean up what the two little old simps didn't really give the proper pushback on. Yes, we got fat men just like we got fat women. But see, let's break down the main difference, okay? A man can be fat as long as you got your money together. Case in point, for a white guy, look at Tom Likas, okay? You can be fat, but if you got your resources, yeah, you can have access to women. Okay, now you can call it tricking or whatever you want. But hell, look at Donald Trump. Now, again, I don't find the white women attractive, but they can go and get what they find attractive. That's true for men across the board. You get your money right, man, shit. At the end of the day, like I said, women gonna do what's in their best interest. Look at the brother Biggie Smalls. Rest in peace to that brother, okay? You heard Biggie's line, fat and ugly as ever. However, he stay coochie down to the socks, okay? That's true. So that's the part they not pointing out. That's why it's not the same for men and women. Unfortunately, whether it's fair or not, women are judged more often by their attractiveness to a man. That is their currency, especially in their younger years, to secure a decent man that's going to be a husband and a provider for them. Okay? That's the truth. It is what it is. You don't have to like it. It's been the same long before any of us was on this planet. That's how it is, okay? Now, for me, hey, look, I don't advocate for brothers running around here and be slovenly. I'm just stating the facts as they are, all right? See, look, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to make some of y'all laugh here. I know we're dealing with serious subject matter, but right now, a lot of y'all sisters are probably not going to agree with this. You probably, not me. Right now, most of these sisters in here, man, if it was a fat billionaire, y'all would probably, he was like trying to take you off the market if you're not married. Y'all be like, well, shit, I can get him a personal trainer. You know, hey, I can cook him some healthy meal. He ain't got to stay fat. Come on now. Hey, come on. I already know y'all gonna be quiet, chat room. Come on, sister, a fat billionaire. I'm talking about now, he love your dirty drawers. I'm talking about, man, he love everything. He think you walk on clouds, and he just chunky. And when I say chunky, I ain't talking about little chubby now. I'm talking about he fat, extra large. Man, you ain't finna make me believe that none of y'all wouldn't be like, well, you know what? I'm gonna help him get healthy. You can get him some Jenny Craig, some Slim Fast. You know, get him a good nutritionist. We can get that weight up off him. Come on now, come on, sister. Y'all know y'all would. Y'all be like, well, yeah, come on now. You ain't never been nowhere before either. He can afford to take you anywhere. I can see it now. Sisters will be like, hey, look here, man. You don't need 3 pieces of chicken. Let me cut this chicken in half. Now we got to get you right now. You got this money, but I need you to live a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, come on now. I just like to keep it real over here. But hey, let this continue because we got to finish analyzing this psychopath.
What you're telling me, there's a whole body positive movement.
For
there's
men.
a whole
No,
you're telling me it's the same. But this is the other thing we have in society. See, he did it. It's like whenever we talk about anything with the women, the automatic reaction, but men.
Yeah.
But men, it's like a pattern that I noticed. And yeah, because the men whales, they accept their outcomes. They know they're not getting laid. They know they're not doing shit. The women, they whine. I'm just like, stop whining. You chose to be fat. Yeah.
There's also a double standard in terms of obesity in that, for men, it's okay to,
Also, women are more obese than men. Thank you, in the US anyway. I don't know here, but
we've noticed.
70 to 80% of women are
we've noticed when we were in the US. But, I used to take the piss out of Francis for being overweight, and that was fine. Mm-hmm. He's lost weight. Mm-hmm. And he's a bit miserable now because he doesn't get to eat the food that he likes, but he's healthy, right? I don't think if Francis was female, it would be in any way acceptable for me to sit here and joke about that and for us to have that kind of banter.
Yeah, she couldn't take it. No, you can't.
Yeah. But so to go back to the comment, when you said I agreed, what I was saying was, yes, I see your point, but so for instance with whales, and I'm approaching this from a comedian's point of view, okay, in that I know the language that I use will elicit a particular response, and that word will elicit a particular response. My choice of language will elicit a particular response from an audience member, depending on what button I want to push. Are you as methodical as that?
No. I just say
Can
shit.
You not tell?
Look, I just say shit I think is funny. I mean, true, right? But funny. And I think it's funny to call them whales. Yeah. And when I call them whales, I'm not talking about All right, because this is the other thing. Well, what about the nice whales? Okay. Half the whales that I call whales, they call me ugly first. And that's what that one girl did, because this is how I'll tell you how the whale incident started. This is how I started calling women whales. Yeah. Because this woman, the one that attacked me, the whale attack, she was like, I'll have you, you slack. She called me a slack first, so I called her a whale back. So I was like, you're a whale. You're a whale. She started it. I just finished it, Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something that's going to be very insensitive, but I think most of the chat room will agree with this. Lice Spice, a.k.a. Pearl Davis, I'm going to say this directly to you. It's going to sound fucked up, but look, I got to tell the truth. If somebody tell you how you really look, you really shouldn't take offense to that. They just telling you the truth. You are hideous. I've said it before. That woman needs a head transplant. I wouldn't say a damn thing if she used some of daddy's money to get reconstructive surgery on that, because look, my God, man, that's horrible. That's horrible. I'm gonna tell you, it's hard for me to even do these broadcasts with her. That's why I took a break from. Hey, I'll let everybody just talk about it. But like I said, we got to get to the core of what she's talking about here, and it's coming up in just a bit. I'm just saying she shouldn't take offense to that. It's just the truth, woman. You hideous. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you get on well with women generally, Pearl?
They love me.
A small minority, I imagine.
No, actually, I've always had like girlfriends. So.
Do you know what? I have to say, in your defense, not that I'm agreeing with this, I increasingly do see women, particularly on the right, like Jessica Vaughan, who's a friend of mine on Twitter. I just opened my Twitter, she's like, yeah, women shouldn't vote.
I just think the outcomes would be better. Like, I feel like I'm a conservative, so if we took out it would go my way more. Yeah.
It would go. What is your way? What does that mean?
I'm more conservative.
Okay, but what does that mean?
In the U.S., Republicans winning.
Okay.
I mean, that is factually correct, by the way.
Yeah, I'm like, personally, I'm like, I think the outcomes would be better for America if it was more Republican. So I'll take one for the team, guys. I'll do it for you.
And what does that mean, the outcomes?
The outcomes? Well, one thing I would like to see is the laws change in terms of child custody. I think it should be 50-50, or maybe even take the government out of it. I mean, I'm not like a diehard politics person, to be honest. So I'm pro-life. So I think that would be a better outcome for me, pro-gun. Yeah. I don't want to pay a lot of taxes. So take out the taxes, take out the government benefits.
So basically what you're saying is women vote left. And because you're on the right, you'd like women not to be able to vote.
I think the outcomes would be better if women didn't vote, for me.
Yeah.
And also, like, women are just more swayed by, like, media. So we make 70 to 80% of consumer buying decisions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like women, like, we're just not as logical. Where men go off of, like women, we vote based on how we feel. Where men will look at, like, the pros and the cons of something. So
she's making good points, mate.
It's like okay, we don't even know what we want for dinner. Okay, we don't even know what we want for dinner. Do you think we should pick the leader of the free world? And they'll be like, well, not all women. Okay, I think I know more successful women than most. Just being in that line of work, I know a lot of women that have done well. I had a pro volleyball contract offered. I know a lot of women in sports that played at the highest level, that have achieved a lot of things. At the end of the day, we're all still women. So I'll take one for the team, guys. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So that being the case, we can all agree that America is right-leaning, more right-leaning than the UK.
Yeah.
So
I'm not a diehard politics person.
I think that's a pretty standard viewpoint. So so why the UK then, Pearl, as opposed to America?
I'll tell you why. So I didn't mean to end up here. Yeah, I did.
No, I'll tell you why, Pearl, because you know that black people over here weren't going to let you get that bullshit off. But hey, go ahead and tell us another lie with them little thin pasty lips.
I didn't mean to. It was like an accident. So I, before YouTube, was playing semi-pro, or I need to start over. So when I got out of college, I was selling copiers. And I decided that I wanted to play volleyball overseas. I was going to try to get a pro contract. And I was recruited to play volleyball here. So it was a year program to get my master's. And at the end of the year, you hypothetically get a pro contract, which I did with the YouTube stuff. So I kind of I started the show when I got here, and I didn't expect it to get huge. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So then I kind of just got stuck here because I was I'd have to move my producer, and it was just, I mean, you know how it is if you guys wanted to move this whole operation, what a headache it would be.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, imagine. So I'd have to, I'm the voltage converters. So I kind of accidentally ended up here, but I am going to leave eventually.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see why. I don't think your opinions are that widely shared in this country.
No, they love me here.
Listen, there's something else. I think it's been we call the show trigonometry.
Yeah.
But even by our standards, this has been pretty triggering for a lot of people. However, there's something even more triggering that I do have to ask you about, because in between the time that we booked you to come on the show and you actually coming on the show, you had a guy called Nick Fuentes.
Wait till you hear what she's about to say when they ask her about this.
Yeah, Nick.
Yeah. And then you did an interview with this guy. This is not a guy we would ever have on because he's a racist, Holocaust denying piece of shit as far as I'm concerned. But you had him on, and then you took that interview down and apologized. So what happened with that whole thing?
Oh, I can't talk too much. There's legal things going on.
There's legal things going on.
Yeah, there's not with Nick, but just but there's I have a video coming out about that whole thing. So
You do?
You guys have to wait for the video.
Well,
but I will say I did not find Nick to be racist. My staff actually did not find him to be racist.
Wait, he was talking to
I thought we were wrong over here in New Black Media Spaces when we told you that she is an anti-black racist and a white supremacist. All of you saw the breakdown that Brother Jason Black did on that, okay? He was the first one to go ahead and fire the shot her around the cyberspace world. If you watch that from front to back, and for those of you that have the original copy and you look at that whole thing, you tell me what's not white supremacy and anti-black racism in there. Now you hear her tripling down on the fact that she doesn't think that Nick is a white supremacist or an anti-black racist. You saw the segment where he was sitting there talking to King Rich's girl, and yes, he was in the studio when those comments were being made. Boy, I'm gonna tell you, dude, King Rich, you about as bitch made as they come. I don't even like white women, but I'm gonna tell you something, man. You gonna respect any woman that I deal with. You ain't gonna make them kinds of statements with me in the room now. That's just not gonna happen. But hey, that's what they go for. That's their problem. I just want to put that out there on the record because y'all heard how he was talking to that white girl, that King Rich's supposed girlfriend, just saying all kind of shit. Because see, even if you didn't check him for disrespecting your woman, he talking about you. You a black man. What maybe in his mind he don't think so. He probably think he's just a dark-skinned Brit, a part of the royal crown. But we're going to let her finish expounding on why she says, hey, Nick ain't a white supremacist. That lets you know she agrees with what he said. Therefore, that makes her and him one in the same.
An Italian girl next to you and saying that she shouldn't have a black boyfriend or something along those lines.
He doesn't believe in. See, I don't really want to go into the race mixing stuff too much.
No, but you just said he wasn't being racist, and I watched him be racist on your show.
Well, I mean, to me, he says the same things that like there's a lot of people that think like that.
But doesn't make it less racist just because other people think it.
You could say that, but to me, it's how do I put it? His argument is more about culture. It's easier if you date someone in your culture. You'd have to watch the full thing, but was being a bit combative to him. And to me, he was just kidding. But yeah,
He did say, I am.
Now you heard those comments, but to her, he was just kidding. Yeah. Tell us again that she's not a white supremacist.
A bit racist, even in that. And in fact, in your apology, you said that he said racist things.
Well, there's a video coming out about all of that, but you'll see. It's coming out.
Okay. Well, the reason I'm asking you is because it's kind of like a big deal that you had this guy on. Do you see what I'm saying? He is incredibly toxic.
I'm just telling you my personal experience with him. We filmed hours and hours and hours of footage with him. There was that one to me, if you watch the full clip, it puts it in a little bit of context.
Yeah.
But he was really polite. He showed up on time. Like we just, yeah.
He also
and honestly, he did a panel and he spoke about his opinions on race mixing, and a lot of people agreed with him.
Okay, but that doesn't change whether it's racist or not, right? But what I'm getting
Do you think it's racist to like, because I'm curious.
Yeah.
Do you think it's
Go.
racist like if I'm Irish and I say I want to date someone that's Irish? Do you think that's racist?
No, but if I say to you, you're Irish, therefore you shouldn't date a black man, that is racist, yeah.
If you're Irish and, because when he spoke about it on the show, it was more about culture than race.
But to me, that doesn't really work as an argument, Paul. So
Not only is she a white supremacist, but just like her white supremacist pal Nick Fuentes, she's a bold-faced liar. Nick Fuentes clearly sat there on the show and addressed King Rich's girlfriend saying, "You're with a black guy." How the hell is that not about race? But hey, the book dancers Sam Bozo say we don't know what we're talking about, huh?
I'll give you an example. I'm half Latin American. I take after my dad's Irish side. If I date a Jamaican woman, Jamaica and Venezuela have a very similar culture. We're culturally very similar. We have the same food, the same religion, whatever else. So to me, that argument doesn't work. Do you see what I'm saying?
Wait, Venezuela and what?
And Jamaica. So Venezuela's at the top of South America,
I
and
see.
Jamaica is all Trinidad, which is literally, you see it over the water.
Yeah, well, it's just, when he was talking about how he wanted to date an Italian woman. Like versus, like he even said he wouldn't want to date a British girl, he'd want to date an Italian woman. So it's like, how is he a white supremacist?
No,
if he
he's
wanted
allowed to date who he wants,
Yeah.
but him telling your Italian friend she shouldn't be dating a black man, that's the racist part, don't you think?
I'd have to remember what he said in the clip, but maybe, yeah, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's why I'm asking you, because
Now she's pretending like she didn't know what he said in the clip, but you saw that. She was sitting right there while he was saying that, didn't check him in any kind of way. But these people gonna tell us that we don't know what we're talking about over here? You see this, right? This isn't edited. I didn't add or take nothing away from this. This is her saying this to these two little dorks right here. And then just in case you think that they're the good guys, just wait. They're going to reveal their true colors too. Just wait.
you do have controversial guests, as we do, and there's nothing wrong with talking to people who are controversial, but Nick Fuentes is a very different kettle of fish, as we say here, right?
Yeah, my opinion is that he was polite overall. He was a good guest.
He was also denying the Holocaust, from what I remember.
Look, I'm not with that. Keep me out of that one. I'm not with the race. Like, that's not my thing. But I just think people are allowed to have their opinions. So if he has crazy opinions, let him have his opinions. And I think he should be allowed to talk about it on a podcast.
But isn't it also the duty, Pearl, of the person interviewing them to push back on those opinions when they come up and actually challenge them and investigate them and to basically push back on it?
Yeah, I mean, we could do another show where we push back more. It's not the end all be all.
But surely isn't that the risk? Isn't that?
I wanted to do like one with Dr. Umar, but he didn't want to come. Sad.
Who's Dr. I don't know who that is.
Dr. Umar has like the same opinions as Nick. Like he doesn't believe in race mixing too. He's just black.
Yeah.
That's like a common, yeah.
Yeah, there are some people who believe that, sure.
Yeah.
But
I am not going to let her get away with that by trying to compare Dr. Umar Johnson and Nick Fuentes. Dr. Umar Johnson was not a part of the Charlottesville race riots, okay, that killed people. Dr. Umar Johnson is not a domestic terrorist. Yes, the brother has his views, which I do agree with. We should be with our own people. There's nothing wrong with that. But to try to compare like they have the same views, no, they don't. There's nothing remotely similar about them other than that fact right there. And Dr. Umar Johnson, even though he uses certain language that he uses, I ain't never seen him sit in no room and insult nobody the way Nick Fuentes did with that white woman that was supposedly dating King Richards. I'm gonna tell you right now, that's one of the most pathetic displays right there I've ever seen. And yes, I know for a fact he was in the damn studio. He was in there. He didn't even address it after it was over. So let's just go ahead and get that out the way. Let's just say he was trying to be people say, well, he was trying to be a professional. I would have said something. I'd be like, hey, Pearl, tell him if he got anything to say to my woman, you need to say it to me. Don't address her no more. In fact, see, that's another reason why you don't have your women engaging in those types of conversation with men like that, because see, those types of things could happen. But he didn't do none of that. I just want to go ahead and blow that one out of the water, but hey, let's let him finish up.
You know, when you were talking about the Holocaust with him, he was saying it's like slavery, it got embellished, and you were sort of going, I can see your point. And that's what I found a bit confusing, because then in your apology, you said, well, I wasn't really educated on these things. But it sounds like you're kind of taking that back now.
There's a statement coming out on everything, so you guys just have to wait for it.
Yeah.
From
our perspective, we're kind of saying to you what we thought you might have said to him, which is if a guest says or does something controversial, you kind of want to ask and find out why they've done that. And we have to make, by the way, if this is coming across as confrontational, that's not the intention at all, because whenever I see a guest not be challenged enough on someone's show, I often think, there, but by the grace of God go I, because we've had people on the show who've said controversial things and I've sort of missed the moment and I kind of didn't challenge them enough and I felt bad about it afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, because you're not a political person, you might not. There was a guy called Darren Grimes who had a guy called Dr. David Starkey on, and he said something about how, of course, slavery wasn't genocide, otherwise there wouldn't be so many damn blacks in the West. Right. And that got picked up by all the media and they all had to go at him. And I just saw a fairly young, inexperienced interviewer in Darren failed to challenge someone who he looked up to and respected on what was just a bad phrasing more than anything. Right.
I told you that if you thought these were the good guys, now you see, and I'm going to say it right here tonight, all three of these are white supremacists. Because, see, let me point out why. Any mention of the Holocaust in this interview, oh, no, we're not with that. Oh, that's terrible. I'm not a Holocaust denier. But when it comes to our Holocaust and slavery, oh, it was just a choice of bad phrasing. And his little buddy over there didn't give no pushback. We already know where Pearl stands. See, family, this is the reason why we do what we do over here in the black media. I'm going to let the rest of it play, though.
So I totally understand why you may have missed something or not have jumped in on something that you maybe felt that you should have jumped in on, but the reason that Francis and I would never have Nick Fuentes on is precisely because he says all that shit all the time. So if you were to actually challenge him on some of his abhorrent views, you'd spend the entire 3 hours doing that.
Did you watch the full video?
I watched some of it, not the full video. Yeah.
Okay. I did challenge him at points of it.
Okay, well, tell us about that.
Tell us.
I mean, we had a whole panel on race mixing.
Yeah.
And we had that was why he came out. The political stuff was just because he was there. So I did a one-on-one as the reason I brought him on was I saw him on No Jumper, talking about race mixing. And I've heard that point of view, but it's usually not, people look different that have that point of view usually. So I've heard it, but I've just never heard it like that, I guess. So we just brought him on a panel just about race mixing, and they did a whole panel on it.
But then he was denying the Holocaust.
That was crazy. That was.
But that's what he does. That's why I'm asking you.
Well, but we brought him on to talk about race mixing. That's what we brought him on, because it's a relationship show, and then we just interviewed him because he was there.
But there will be people, Pearl, who will say, well, if you're going to bring that person on, and look, again, this isn't to, misrepresent or do any of those types of things. The reason we have this show is so we can talk and have honest conversations, because part of this is for me to clarify my thinking about different issues. That's why we do the show. But part of it is also when you bring someone on, you can't ignore that. What I mean?
I just don't know what you mean by ignore.
No, because if you're not addressing the fact that he's a Holocaust denier, then you're ignoring that. Do you see what I mean?
I mean, I don't agree that the Holocaust didn't happen.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying.
Oh, but you do agree that slavery was embellished, though, huh? All of them seem to not have any problem with that. Notice the theme anytime this part gets discussed by people that ask her about this. Oh, no, I don't know deny the Holocaust. Oh, but there's no problem with saying that slavery was embellished, though, huh? Just point that out.
Reassuring.
I mean, I was just listening to him. Yeah. And I think you're allowed to listen to people that you might not agree with. And I think as women, we're more agreeable than men. So a lot of times you might take it as me agreeing. But No, I didn't.
Well, you did say, so it's kind of like slavery, it's been embellished.
I was talking about how people use atrocities to control people. And I was quoting Thomas Sowell, who's a Black author, who said
I'm
the same
I'm a
thing.
big fan of Thomas Sowell,
Yeah, so I was.
Oh, did you hear that? In case you thought I was reaching about these two little punks also being white supremacists. Oh, I'm a big fan of Thomas Sowell. Yeah. Emily, when we call something, we know what the hell we talking about over here in these spaces. And see, notice this too. Every time Pearl keeps opening her mouth about that, she doubles down on it each and every time. This is how you can tell she was raised in a household to get these viewpoints. The average buck dancing sambo is so enamored by Miss Ann Lice Spice's white skin, they can't see the truth right in front of their faces. Those types of Negroes are suicidal. But hey, we're going to let this wrap up.
Quoting Thomas Sowell and speaking about his ideas if people watch the full interview.
Yeah.
And I said that in the interview.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how people use an atrocity to control people.
And notice when she keeps saying people using an atrocity to control people, she means Black people. That's what she's saying. See, we read between the lines with common sense over here. That's why she's not saying which people. Because think about it. Let's go ahead and break it down and make it make sense. If she was talking about another particular person or a particular group of people or another group, why wouldn't she just say that? She's basically trying to say that Black people embellish slavery to mentally manipulate and control white people. This is how you know that her father is a stomped down white supremacist and her mother too. She grew up in a white supremacist household.
Yeah. So, but you don't think that's what happened with the Holocaust?
It sounded like it based on what he was saying, but
he's a well-known Holocaust denier. Of course, it would sound like that.
That's where I was feeling.
Sorry,
let me finish. At the time, that's what I was talking about. It sounded like some of Thomas Sowell's ideas, but do I think that the Holocaust didn't happen? No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I guess what do you think your responsibility is when you bring on controversial guests onto the show? Do you have any responsibility? What do you believe?
For the guests?
No, not for the guests. For the content that you put out, Pearl.
Yeah, I'm responsible for all the content I put out.
You're responsible for all the content that you put out. And do you now look at that and think you shouldn't have done that? You made a mistake, you made an error? I don't
regret having someone controversial on. If I had to do it again, I would have maybe had someone on the opposite end of the argument that could push back. But how I probably would have did it if I had to do it again, one full interview with both of them, let them talk, let them say what they're going to say, and then bring them together.
So who would you have on the other end? So you'd have
Dr. Umar.
Yeah, but those are two people who share the same viewpoint. Just one happens to be white, one happens to be Black. That's not that's playing on. Do you see that's kind of identity politics?
Yeah, but then we did a whole panel with people that disagreed with him, so we did do that.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm a bit confused about is you did a whole apology. But it sounds like you're
stop asking me about this. Like I said,
it kind of matters.
I have a statement coming out about it. So
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll leave it to your statement.
Yeah.
Listen, we always wrap up the show with the same question we ask all our guests, which is, what's the one thing you think we're not talking about that we really should be?
Men's issues. Yeah, that's my
Do you want to elaborate, or happy to leave it there?
No, I would just say like men. I just think men not getting custody of their kids. I think that is an issue that nobody talks about.
Okay, sweet. Well, Pearl, thank you very much. Where can people find you online?
There you have it, family. There you have it. Now you have seen from front to back what the white manospheres, thought leaders think of just Pearly Things, or as I'm going to call her, Lice Spice, okay? And now you see that just like we called her, this is a hardcore anti-Black racist and white supremacist. To the point that she's demonically insane with it, to the point that she actually does think that the shit she's saying is normal. And see, did you always notice, anytime she brings up anything about slavery, go and look at any of the clips where you can find what she's talking about there, on this channel, anybody's channel. Notice this demonic smile she had and this break out into a fit of laughter. Our Holocaust is funny. But when you talk about the Jewish people, you get some act right, huh? Like I said, family, I told you, when we expose something over here, we put the nail in the coffin. So now from here on out, anybody that want to argue with us, go ahead and refer back to this broadcast here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and close the broadcast right there. Salute to everybody that joined us in attendance over here. We do what we do over here so people can have accurate knowledge and information to make sure you don't get caught off guard by these racists and white supremacists out here, because there's no laughing matter when it comes to dealing with people like this in our society. So with that said, salute to everybody. Black first. I will see you all in future content.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Tariq Nasheed, and I'm inviting you to the Foundational Black American Expo going down May 27th, 2023, right here in the beautiful city of Dallas, Texas. This is an event you don't want to miss. It's going down at the Black Academy of Arts and Letters, and this is an empowerment event that you can invite the whole family to. We're going to have seminars and workshops that discuss things like business development, education, health and wellness, self-defense, and some of you businesses out there, we have vending opportunities where you can promote your businesses. Plus, we're gonna have so many phenomenal speakers and guests. We got people like Dr. Boyce Watkins, who's coming down, Professor James Small, Sister Vicky Dillard, Riza Islam, Dr. Kaba Kamene, Ben X, Tahuti Mayad Ra, Erica Lachey, Red Pill, Blue Pill, so many people. So yo, get your tickets now at FBAexpo.com. That's FBAexpo.com. We will see you here.